Well, I was listening to Dirt and Sprague this morning when I heard the U.S. Open going on, or the little liners there, that I was like, oh, yeah, U.S. Open week. Just snuck up.
Well, we've got what they're trying to do is a major once a month, right?
I believe that is the outline, then leading into the championship there at the end.
And then the Players. I think the Players is in March. And then
Yes.
April we went. Oh man, did we go
golf calendar?
Well, April's Masters, and then May was PGA.
And now we're in June,
Yeah.
and we've got the U.S. Open, and then July we'll get the British or the Open Championship.
Yeah, and that's
and then that
leads that's right.
And then that leads into the is it still the FedEx
FedEx Cup?
Cup?
FedEx Cup.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I was like, wait, are we still doing that? Because, when that stuff changes quite a bit. So it's weird that it's the FedEx Cup until it's not the FedEx Cup. And then it's going to be I don't know. It'll be the UPS Cup. You're like, what? It gets a little squirrely. But, they give out a S ton of money, and they're trying to make that a thing. They're trying to make it happen. And I kind of feel like maybe it's working just a scooch. Maybe.
What, the FedEx Cup, you mean?
FedEx Cup.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even you, who is a diehard golf guy, that's why I said it's working a little bit. That's where you're like, it's all right.
It is all right.
Well, it should.
It's kind of convoluted.
It is convoluted because not everyone starts at based on what you did during the year. So you start off with like a different point total, and not.
Well, that's the last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one. Yeah. It's there's got to be a better way to do it. But we say this every year. We talk about this every year. We come on here and we're like, oh, there's got to be a better way to do it, and then no one has a better way to do it.
No. So. But it should be a bigger deal because the winner of it, because what's the winner of the U.S. Open get? Like what, $2-3 million?
$4 million.
Are we
maybe?
up to 4 now?
Yeah, 3.5 maybe.
Right. Well, the winner of the FedEx Cup gets $18 million.
That's a lot.
Like that. No offense. If you're just, and I get it. If you're like Rory, you don't need the money. But if you're some dude who's on tour, and you've won once or twice, and you're doing just fine. Let me ask you this: would you rather win the U.S. Open and it's 3 and some change? Very prestigious, though. You're the U.S. Open winner. You'll go down forever. Your name's on the trophy. Or you want to win the FedEx, and would you like $18 million?
Yeah, except you have to really play well to win that.
Yeah.
It's not just one tournament.
I understand, but it's still $18 million.
You got to have a hell of a year, and you're not going to outplay Scotty Scheffler. Seems like.
No. Still, it's $18 million.
Well, I love launching into golf talk right off the top.
Well, you came back, and because we talked to, who was the guy that we talked to years ago that won the first?
That was Bill Haas.
Bill Haas, who again is not Rory McIlroy, and he did tell us, I think at the time, was it like 8 million?
10.
10? And he did say he woke up the next day and called his bank to check his balance. And indeed, they had deposited $10 million, which is pretty badass.
That is pretty badass.
Yeah.
Now it's 18. Yeah. Inflation.
Well,
over the years.
3.9, by the way, for the winner.
Yeah, so $4 million.
The U.S. Open.
They've really, thanks, Liv.
Yeah. And more importantly, 750 FedEx Cup points, whatever the hell that means. And that's the other thing. Yeah, you win 750 Cup points. No one knows what 750. That could be you could have said you win 50 Cup points, and I would have been like, oh, that's nice.
Well, no one really follows the Cup standings.
Exactly.
But they are out there.
They're out there.
If you'd like. But no one cares.
No. You care about the $4
million
million.
Yep. $4 million. I saw last week who finished second. Morikawa won $2.2 million.
It's tasty.
Finishing second place.
Well, I'd like to finish in second place.
You know what I think about a lot is like when the guys have the gain or lose a stroke on 18 and they're back at like 12th or 15th or whatever, how many thousands of dollars they're gaining or losing by making a late surge or by having a late collapse when they're not even in contention. Because like there's, tens of thousands of dollars on the line on those putts, right?
Yeah, they can be. And I can't imagine they think about it that way.
Yeah, it's like
I would.
It's like when you're standing
over... Well, you and I would.
It's like you're standing over a putt at Langdon and there's a glass of wine. You're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's...
You can't think about that.
No, it could be like $14-15 with one stroke of the putter. It's
you have to think about putting a good stroke on the ball.
It's focus.
That's what you have to think about.
Hey, man, there's a beverage here. Or in that case, $50,000.
Well, I was happy to see Xander win a major. We didn't get to talk about that after I left.
Oh no, yeah, you were gone. Well,
But,
I was gone.
Well,
too,
you were gone
so,
too.
yeah,
So
we
I
were
don't even
gone.
know if they talked about it. But Xander's a major champ now.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know what they discussed.
My guy Xander.
I was not. Unfortunately, I did not tune in that day.
What did I miss last week?
I don't know. You missed stuff.
A flurry of sports.
There was a flurry
action.
of sports action.
We actually had a big wait last week of almost doing nothing until Thursday because we weren't getting Stanley Cup until Saturday. We didn't get the NBA till Thursday, so we were chewing the fat early on.
It was a whole thing, Hot opinions being thrown out.
Well, my Oilers are in the finals, I see.
Yeah, down 1-0 though.
That's great.
Until tonight when they go 1-1.
So if they win,
mm-hmm.
they're the first Canadian team to win the Cup since...
I think 92, 93, I believe it is.
That's right, the Canadians, 92, 93.
The Montreal Canadiens.
Since you were in high school.
I was not in high school.
Well, actually, I was in high school.
I was in junior high.
You were in junior high.
I was in junior high. It's been a while. We've had some that have played for it. In fact, I believe the Montreal Canadiens are the last team to lose the Stanley Cup from Canada. The Oilers have done it. Who else? We've had a couple. We've had a couple that have made it. The Canucks lost it and then burned their city down.
They had a documentary on that on last night on ESPN. They had like a 30 for 30. It's called "I'm Here for the Riot." And I didn't really know about it, but I saw some of the footage. It was wild.
That was fantastic.
Everyone showed up in the streets to watch Game 7, hoping that they were going to beat the Bruins and all party, and they lost in convincing fashion, and they went nuts.
Dude, they burned the city. It was crazy. Yeah, because everyone thought it was going to be this big coronation party. The Canadians, especially in BC, they're known as a very nice, polite people, eh? And I love going to Canada. Big fan. Spent Christmas there last year. I go up, once or twice a year. And I didn't really think that the Canadians had it in them to have an old-fashioned American sports riot. And let me tell you something. The fine people of BC proved me wrong. And the image that I always remember from that is like there's a car on fire, people are going crazy, and there's like this drunken couple that just started doing it on the hood of a car and then onto the street. You could
see their silhouette with like the city on fire behind them. They're just going at it.
And I appreciate that level of horniness.
I remember that photo. That's a classic photo.
Yeah. And I would like to believe that wherever that couple is, or I'm sure that they've now split up, I would have that photo framed in my house. Like that's just one of those it's like the old, what is it, after the war ended, the Navy guy kissing the girl in Central Park.
Yeah, the dip.
Not in Central Park, Times Square, right? Like that's an iconic photo, and that's the modern day equivalent of that. Hey, baby, we just lost the Stanley Cup in 7. The city's on fire. You want to do it? And she's like, yeah. And then right there, you don't go find a hotel. You don't dip into an alley. No. Right here, right now. Let's do it.
Hot.
Yeah, it is hot. Well, especially with all the car fires.
I don't view the Vancouver, BC fan base as gritty and dangerous like that. That's a weird.
Yeah,
it's weird because you think of Vancouver, BC as just bougie as all get out.
It's like San Francisco,
right? Like their fans are educated.
That's right.
Isn't it?
Well, not their fans, but Vancouver.
Isn't it nice though when the nice person shows you they got a little danger in them? You think maybe they got tired of hearing about how polite and nice they were. They were dealing with a-hole Boston fan all series. And enough's enough. We're gonna show Boston how we do it here in Vancouver, and let's set fire to our own city. It's great.
I did watch that Bill Walton 3-part documentary after his passing, and the end of it, they talk about the Blazers championship, and there's a journalist who's on camera there saying, "Oh yeah, that night, that 77 parade, that day got crazy. It was people having sex in the bushes crazy."
Oh, really?
Yeah,
deep in the bush, huh?
That's what he said.
Huh. All right. Well, I've heard the rumor of that is 1 million people flocked downtown, and the city wasn't even that big back in the day, which is that's pretty cool. And so we should be having another one of those, like what?
Anytime now.
2-3 years, like tops, maybe.
Hey, you never know.
Hey, next year.
Scoot.
I'm gonna go to that lake.
Well, people are betting on the Colorado Buffaloes to win a national title, for God's sakes. And
are they?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
I almost bought some primes.
Oh, the blenders?
Yeah.
I
kind of like them.
Well, I have blenders. I have that same
yeah, blenders good shade.
I have that same model, but they're not gold. They look just like
they have different colors of primes.
Oh, okay.
They have black ones.
Oh, well,
I would never wear the gold ones.
Yeah, I have ones that then they weren't. This was before he was an endorser, but they kind of look like it. I don't know, but they're nice.
I almost bought them.
Yeah. Well, you gonna put a ticket on them winning the whole thing?
No.
What's the dumber ticket? That or Bronny James going number 1?
Bronny James going number 1.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
too.
the dumbest
Right.
ticket
You
of
have
all
no
time.
chance there.
No, there's zero chance. I mean,
But it's the highest ticket count out there for
My
the NBA
Buffs, though.
draft.
Watch out. What's the odds on that? Colorado winning the college football playoff?
yeah, supposedly that's a big bet that's coming in. A lot of people are placing some action on that. I mean, I'm sure you're getting
Boy.
enormous.
And you wonder why sports books rake in billions.
I know.
250 to 1, it looks like.
250.
There's someone out there right now placing a $100 bet. It's like, hey, you never know. No, we know. So which is the dumber bet,
Meanwhile, the-
Colorado or the Blazers?
Blazers winning it all?
Blazers winning it. What are the odds on the Blazers?
See, I think the dumber bet there, I hate to say this, but the dumber bet is the Blazer bet.
Is it?
They're further down. Yes. I mean, look, neither's going to win. Well, what are the odds? I guess that would tell you which
exactly.
is
Yeah, is there? Can we get features already? I mean, maybe not because we don't know what happened in the offseason and the draft and all that. So there may not be.
Blazers could be like 400 to 1 maybe.
Yeah,
500.
I would assume.
They're going to be down near the bottom.
Yeah, dude, wait until they see Scoot though, man.
Yeah, no, that's right.
I mean, dude, he's gonna go to that lake in year 2, and then Shaden Sharp. I mean, come on.
And this new draft pick that they're going to get?
Exactly.
Actually, 2 of them.
Yeah.
Don't they have 2?
They do
Hell yeah.
in a draft that no one wants to be a part of, but hey, they got it.
Okay, I actually have some 2025 draft NBA Finals odds, I
All
think.
right.
Celtics plus 350, Nuggets plus 700.
Are we going to go through all of them until we get to the Blazers?
You want to guess how far down the Blazers are?
28.
Yeah, 20. They're probably 27th or 28th.
They're tied for last with 2 other teams.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's-
All those teams. So it'd be them and
but the Pistons probably,
That's
right?
one.
Wizards maybe.
That's the other.
Wizards.
go.
Yeah, those 3 are what
500 to 1
500.
odds.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it's
So
it's actually a doubly worse
it's
bet.
a dub-
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Boy, that says something. If you want to know what's not going to happen, look, you're pissing your money either way. But from a Vegas standpoint, better to bet on the Colorado Buffalo.
Go Buffs! That bet looking better minute by minute. All right.
Oh, Dion.
Well, hey, good to be back. We are rocking and rolling.
Refreshed from the All-American City, I'm assuming.
The All-American city of Salina is intact.
Yeah.
Salina, Kansas. It's intact.
Did you go to the Applebee's or some fine
No.
dining?
No, they've got some good restaurants now.
Really?
Yeah, back
Olive
when
Garden?
I was there, it was Applebee's.
Yeah, what's taking the place of the Red Lobster?
Well, you got this. There's a joint called Yaya's, which is pretty good. It's right there in the hotel.
Yeah.
Good bar. I had. You know what I had there?
Hmm.
You wouldn't believe this. I had Thrasher Shark.
Oh, all right. I remember the
At Yaya's.
old McCormick and Schmick's had a Thrasher Shark
Yeah,
like special that they would run.
pretty exciting.
All right. Is it Thresher or is it Thrasher?
I thought it was Thrasher, but
I just don't want that. Shark Bro. I'm waiting for the text, the Vancouver Ford text line to
well,
blow
let's look
up.
it up.
I for whatever reason I thought it was Thresher, but this is at this point in my life, I am certain of very little, and I'm not staking my
You're right. Yeah,
Okay.
Thresher Shark.
Thresher Shark.
Yes, how dumb am I?
Unbelievable.
I ate that, and
you Kansas rube.
I had that.
You're-
With,
you're
it was
walking-
a kebab.
You're walking around Kansas being like, man, that Thrasher Shark. And everyone else is like, you moron.
You idiot.
Yeah.
You are from Salina. Well, we got the olds moved into their new place.
They loving it.
Well, I don't know about that.
They're doing some lawn bowling and mixing it up with the other olds.
It's
I've heard
it's
those
a weird feeling,
I've heard those places are very exciting.
as you know, because you've done this recently.
I have done it.
It's an odd thing when
Yeah.
your olds go to assisted living, but
Yeah.
the biggest revelation was you should have seen their face when I set up their Amazon Echo in their new
Oh man.
in
Blown.
their room. Well, she was playing music, and my dad said, "Well, let's." So this was Thursday. You were back on the show,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Let's pull up the fan." And so he pulls out his iPhone, you know, and he gets on the Odyssey app, and I'm like, "Dad, check this out. Turn that off." He's like, "Well, why?" I said, "Just turn it off." And then I went, "Alexa, play 1080 The Fan."
Did it just blow their mind?
They were like, "Oh my God." Yeah.
Are you
So they're probably listening to us on the Echo right now
either that or they're just shouting into the void right now, random things. Look,
at Alexa.
can we say that that's probably more like it is they're just, Alexa, and they're just shouting random commands?
It
Well-
appears it is Thresher Shark, by the
Yeah,
way.
Thresher. Yeah. I was wrong about that.
Someone already texted, Thresher idiots.
But it tasted good.
Yeah, that's tasty. Are you excited for the day when your kids have to when Meatball has to explain something as simple as Bluetooth technology to you? Because it's going to happen to you.
Well, I think that's already kind of happening.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. I mean, I know
Not-
what Bluetooth
not
is.
to that point,
but
but
it's something else.
I just spent an hour explaining Spotify to my elderly parents once, and boy, let me tell you something. That was the thing, and you know what's coming. You're gonna, like, 20 years from now, Meat's gonna have to sit down. Him and his wife are gonna have to sit down and explain something to you, and you are just gonna be bewildered by it.
Yeah, well,
Aging's a hell of a thing.
that's where we're headed.
Well, I'm just glad they're
doing great.
glad they're
you know.
situated.
Yeah, the olds, they're 81. And,
Yeah, probably eating well.
Hey, they're eating good.
I was gonna say they're probably already, because it's what, 6:30 there.
They're
Oh,
no, it's 5:15 there.
Oh, they ate dinner 45 minutes ago. You kidding
You're way
me?
off.
They had the early bird.
No, they eat a little later, but I tell you, this place has pretty good food, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, pretty good
Some
food.
cream of corn,
Now,
I hope.
Some of the people that they hire in the little restaurant there,
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be lucky to get anything you ordered.
Yeah.
But if you do get what you ordered,
It's all right.
or whatever they bring,
Yeah.
it's pretty good
All right.
for a
Yeah.
I mean, for an assisted living
I
place.
understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm sure they're in a backgammon tournament right now or
Could
something.
be worse. Well, they were doing cornhole
Yeah, I was gonna say.
out there.
The big one is they got to have activities for the olds. You got to find ways to distract them.
They had happy hour. Where an old German guy named Ott got drunk and started talking about Hitler. Wasn't you can imagine that scene.
Oh boy.
No, I'm not kidding.
Oh no,
I'm not kidding.
that's fantastic.
They limit him to 2. You got
Yeah.
to watch the olds, but
Yeah.
Ott was sly.
Let me just say right now, I don't think it takes Ott many drinks to launch into his weird.
He got housed.
Yeah. Let me tell you about Mein Kampf.
He said he felt sorry for one of the women there that was paralyzed, and they all just went, Ott, she's not paralyzed. She had a stroke, Ott. He's like, I just feel for you.
I tell you, I'm already excited about the stories of Ott coming out of the old folks' home in Salina,
Yeah,
Kansas.
Ott is
Yeah,
the
he's the wild card.
He's the character of the bunch.
Gotta have one.
And there's also Dot. I would like you to know Ott and Dot.
Are they?
No,
they're not together.
They're separate. Dot is from Arkansas, the
Maybe
great
they should get together.
and beautiful state of Arkansas.
I desperately want there to be a group Alexa in this, like the communal area of this, and watch the olds all attempt to navigate Alexa when anyone can control it. That alone, you film that and put that on YouTube, I'm watching that all day.
Look, I'm not gonna lie.
Is there a live stream I can check this out?
We gave them the Echo for Christmas,
Yeah.
and of course, it never got set up.
No.
Because of the most predictable thing ever was, hey, I tried and I couldn't. I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, I'll get it set up for you. And believe me, the conversation was had, is this even worth, do we want to do this? Are you sure you want this? And they're like, yeah. And then I told her she could play her Beethoven or Mozart off of it. She's like, oh, yeah, go ahead and set it up.
Yeah. That was the key.
So,
Who knew Mama Rop was into Beethoven?
oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a classical music fanatic.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening out there somewhere in Alexa, Mama Pa Rop.
Yeah,
Congratulations on the new digs.
that's right.
Maybe they can get you some green. Maybe you can get a green shag rug to get a little touch of home.
Yeah. Good point.
Maybe that's for Christmas this year.
All right, well, you want some poll?
Yeah, give me some pole.
We've got the poll question pertaining to the point guard position of basketball. You guys know that? Point guards?
Yeah.
They handle the ball and all that?
Yeah.
We will get to that to kick off the show next on The Fan.
It's back, and it's sure to sell.
U.S. Open week. Let's go. Little gaff. We'll have picks later in the week. Got some locks. Right now, though, let's get to our poll question for a Monday. It is, as always, brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, a family business helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com. It is on Twitter, or as some call it, X, and the follow is at 1080thefan. Okay? Today we are asking you, which point guard would you most want on your team?
Mm-hmm.
Drew Holiday, Kyrie Irving, Jalen Brunson, or Damian Lillard?
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Vote and vote hard.
Yeah, because are we talking one?
Yeah,
talking
there's a lot of different archetypes.
Yeah, are we talking 1 year? Are we talking the rest of their careers? Are we talking prime?
Look, you got to win some games. Who do you want? You know? I mean, Kyrie's the best, but he's not. I don't think anybody wants him on their team.
You know, he's had a resurgence this
You know?
year, and now in the NBA Finals, he's absolutely taken a giant steamer there.
Look, he's amazing,
yes,
but I don't know if I want Kyrie Irving.
look, if I'm doing career-wise, and that's the way I'm going to take this, I gotta pick a point guard to build, and I get everything that entails. I think I'm taking Lillard in that. I think this year, unfortunately, set Lillard back quite a bit. You know, he had worked a decade to build that reputation, and it wasn't a horrible year in Milwaukee. It wasn't. It was clunky. You know, we had the coaching change, but his numbers were not abysmal. And then injuries, obviously, in the postseason. So I think it's easy to forget just how good Damian Lillard was and is. You know, and Irving, obviously, with a title and with LeBron. But again, if I'm taking his entirety, I got to deal with a lot of crap. And I mean a lot of crap. Holiday is the quintessential kind of glue piece, and you're seeing that. I mean, he's the reason why they won game 2. They didn't play particularly well. They didn't play particularly well in either one of those games. And then Brunson, he's just at the start of what he's doing. So I take Brunson out of it. It's a Holiday, Irving, Lillard thing. And if I've got to build a team and I got to just to make it about one person, I'm starting my team with Lillard. And honestly, I don't think it's that close. I'm taking Dame, and I'm not looking back.
Yeah, he's the obvious one, and he is leading.
Yeah,
right now. But Drew Holiday is very intriguing.
He is gonna if they win. Well, not if they are going to win this. You know this.
Yeah, I think they. Yeah, it's. I thought. I got to tell you, man. I thought this was a really good matchup. And it does not seem like it is.
But the problem is, you got right now. We thought Dallas was going to be, it was a real team effort, right? Like you thought that it was you had the 2 stars, you had the 2 guys that could go back and forth, and then a nice collection of pieces that have been rounded that kind of rounded out this roster. And outside of Luka, no one has shown up. Did you see, like, in a league that is increasingly about shooting the 3 ball, Luka Doncic has 8 threes in the first 2 games. Did you see how the rest of the team?
No.
They have 5.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
And by the way, there have been, like, in the third quarter of game 1, they cut it to 8. This one, you know, Boston was comfortable for much of that. But again, there were opportunities. It's not like they're just getting run out of the gym. If anyone else besides Luka showed up, I mean, Kyrie has been awful. The supporting cast, I think they got 2, maybe 3 field goals from their bench last night. You know, if anyone showed up, this could be a series because, believe it or not, Boston, outside of that first quarter, when everything they threw out went in, I think they hit, like 7 threes in the first half of game 1. They haven't played particularly well. Tatum hasn't really shown up. I mean, last night, Holiday was their best player, went for like 26 and 11. There's opportunities here for Dallas. And yes, give Boston credit. They're very deep. Everything is switchable. You know, and they've got bodies to throw at those guys to make them uncomfortable. But I guess I just thought Dallas would show up. I didn't. This is kind of a LeBron versus the Spurs sort of thing where you have Luka, and right now Luka's playing 1 against the Celtics.
Yeah, I maybe undersold the Celtics.
Yeah.
as many people did. I really thought Dallas might have been a really good bet there. With maybe, I mean, you could make the argument 2 best players in the series are on Dallas, but
I at least said the 2 best closers
the
in
Celtics,
this series.
when they shoot 25% from 3, you got to beat them. That's your
Yes.
shot at them.
Yeah.
And Dallas couldn't do that.
Nope.
Because, I mean, it's amazing. If you have a team, like imagine being a Blazer fan and watching the Blazers play where it doesn't matter who shoots a 3, you love the shot.
Yeah.
That's Boston.
Yeah.
Like every one of those guys can kill you from the 3-point line. It's really, they're so well built.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good. And, I thought Dallas would give them a little bit more of a run for their money, but, maybe they will. Maybe they'll come home and even the series.
I don't think they're capable of winning 4 or 5 from this Boston team. And this is, kind of going into what we talked about. Like, Boston won 60 games. They won 60, what? They won 63? 60? They won 60 plus games. Someone check that. But I know they won at least 60. I want to say it was like 63. Like,
64.
Okay.
They went 64 and 18.
It was 64 and 18.
Yeah.
And they rolled people. And they breezed through the playoffs. And yet, we're still kind of like, well, Boston.
I know. Well, they got to prove it,
Yeah, but they
haven't yet.
They got 2 All-NBA players. Well, 2 that have been. Brown didn't make it this year. Again, a collection of at least 4 guys in their starting lineup that can guard 3 to 4 positions.
Yeah.
Now you got Porzingis back coming off the bench, and last time I checked, he's pretty good. Like Boston just
Dallas had him.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Dallas had him and it didn't really work out.
It didn't work.
But then it just shows you fit matters.
Yeah.
And he just fits right in Boston. He's
So,
great.
Boston's really stinking good.
They are,
they've
but
been really good.
Of course, but having not won the title and fallen short and the Dubs beat them, they have to, like, we've talked about this a million times. You have to win the title, and once you do, the narrative about you completely changes.
Yeah.
But until you do, that narrative will not change, and that's what Boston kind of has, on its back. It's the monkey on its back.
Had Dallas won one of those games, and the block that they were up by 5 with the chase down block with Brown, look, the boy, that showed like a foul to me. His hand was in his back, hand to hand behind. I don't know how that's not a foul. In most, I wonder if that's reversed, and that's PJ Washington blocking Jaylen Brown. I think that whistle's called. And so if he goes there's like a minute left, he hits those free throws and it's 3, maybe it's a different game. But like, had they won that game, had Dallas won that game, we would be murdered, even though it'd be 1-1. And we're like, well, Boston has clearly looked like the better team. We'd be murdering Jason Tatum right now. We'd be killing him. He's been like their 3rd, 4th best player. And yet if he does this the rest of the series, then, and Boston wins, then all of a sudden we'll be like, see, Jason Tatum can do it. Even though, not that he's been a nice facilitator. He's playing good defense. He's still rebounding the ball well, but he's not. Jaylen Brown has been their best player this series. And last night was about Holiday. And yet we're now going to say that if they beat him, that Tatum is like this, now he's a superstar.
Yep.
When in reality, nothing's changed.
Exactly.
Other than you point out the narrative.
It's the whole point of you win the ring, and now we trust you.
Yes.
Now we think you're elite.
Yeah.
If you don't win the ring, you're not there.
Yeah.
And we have to tear you down.
It's like Kobe, obviously, the Mamba mentality, which it drives me crazy because this is an excuse to be an ass. And then you'd be like, well, Mamba mentality. But like, Kobe won that title without Shaq. And he's viewed as like the biggest, clutch game, big game player, this absolute assassin. He could not have played a worse game in the one that won them the title. Like, he was absolute dog mess. I'll look at his stat line. He was terrible. But they win that title. And then the Kobe legend is just this, the greatest clutch player. And had that game gone the other way, had Pau Gasol not shown up, does everything about Kobe change? And we're like, well, I don't know. The last time we saw Kobe in the finals, oh my God, whatever that was, game 6 or game 7, he was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Well, as it pertains to the poll question, Drew Holiday to me is of guys who aren't elite, but you definitely want. Holiday may be my number one.
Sure.
I think it maybe used to be Draymond, like peak Draymond with the Dubs. That's a guy I wanted on my team.
Yeah.
Obviously not anymore. But dude, Holiday just keeps, that series where he in the Pelicans torched the Blazers and Lillard.
Yep.
That comes back into my mind. Of course, he won the title with the Bucks, and now he's on the verge of winning another one. He is just that is a dude, and again, he's not elite. He's not, Damian Lillard skill-wise, but my God, is that a guy I want on my basketball team.
We talk about this all the time in the World Series.
Love him.
Right? I guarantee your Royals team has someone that was not the star player, but you remember from your World Series. And baseball is the one, I don't know why, the Jim Larretts of the world, or the Scott Brosius. And Holiday's better than those two guys. But yeah, when you win a title, a lot of times it's because of that sort of player who's good. I think Holiday's made a couple All-Star teams. He's now going to win 2 NBA championships. I think he's been on an Olympic roster. So let's not shortchange the guy, but he has never been considered a truly elite player, and yet any team that's worth its weight would want him on their squad. And he's been tremendous for Boston.
He's a bit like Chauncey.
Yeah, I could see that
in that way.
That's a good, and Johnson, Hall of Fame.
Chauncey was that guy.
Yeah.
And Chauncey is a Hall of Famer. I think Chauncey's a better player.
But yes, that
guy was always overlooked, and he was such a winner and a guy you wanted running the point.
By the way, Kobe Bryant in that 2010, that was against Boston. It did go 7. I was like, was that 6 or 7? No, it was Game 7. And the Lakers won 83-79. By the way.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
And that they won the title over Boston. Kobe Bryant played 45 minutes, and Kobe went 0 of 6 from the 3-point line, and a whopping 6 of 24 from the field.
Damn.
That's all I'm saying. And with 2 assists.
Look, come on, we know he was awesome.
We know he was awesome. I'm just saying.
Game.
I'm just saying. It's when you win, we forget about it. It doesn't matter that you went
Jordan
out.
had some stinkers.
He didn't have many of those. He never even got to a Game 7 in the finals.
No, I know, but he had some stinker games.
Stinkers. I'm just saying, when you win, this to your point, the narrative. When you win, the winners get to write the narrative. They get to write the story. And we get to remember Kobe as this great closer and this clutch game player. And had Boston won that thing 84-83, I promise we would talk about this differently.
All right, poll question on X at 1080 The Fan. Vote and vote hard. Which point guard would you most want on your team? Drew Holiday, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Jalen Brunson. When we come back, Jace, we have Hack.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to that next. But first, Buck with SportsCenter.
This is a with Isaac and Sue
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
on 1080 The Fan.
I see where the fan Twitter has offended all the fine people of Salina, Kansas.
Uh-oh, what happened now?
Well, I was just looking through because we're going to talk about a Twitter hack here.
Yeah.
And I saw that the fan tweeted. Now, is this you, Buckley? Are you tweeting?
Oh, yeah. What did I do?
Well, you put on here. Let me see if I can.
Uh-oh.
Well, as you know, I am a stickler on accuracy.
Sure. Is it because he said the great American city?
What was I supposed to say? What is it?
Buckley, it is
the all.
an all-American city. That is an
Okay.
actual distinction.
How tragic.
It is tragic.
Yeah.
Buckley. Really?
That is an actual
Here I
distinction.
am shouting out Salina, Kansas, and I don't have to.
Another West Coast liberal
That's
hack.
right. That's right.
That's right. This is what
Disrespecting.
happens.
You know, this
That's
is
what
why
happens.
this is why you lose elections, Buckley. Right? You offend the middle of the country with this a great American city.
Yeah, really, clearly
It
a
is
huge
an
flaw on my part.
all-American city, award-winning city
I knew that.
of Salina, Kansas. And by the way, I was going to tell you, they have a brewery there now,
Yeah.
Blue Sky Brewery.
Exciting.
Martinelli's Italian restaurant. You were asking about.
Fine dining?
I mean, it's good.
Do they serve Martinelli's there?
It's pretty good. What do you mean?
You don't know what Martinelli's is? The
Sparkling apple cider.
Yeah, the sparkling apple cider.
Apple cider couldn't be any further down my list of things to consume.
That's a shame because Martinelli's is delightful. You know, I know that, you could just open a bottle of wine, but if you're in a situation where you can't drink or shouldn't be drinking, a bottle of Martinelli's is delightful.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man.
Way too much sugar.
You could give me 100 different options.
Yeah.
And apple cider.
See,
And this is no offense to Martinelli's, but apple cider would be option number 101.
here's what
For me.
I'm going to bring in a bottle of Martinelli's chilled, and I'll bet you I pour you a glass of Martinelli's tomorrow. You're going to drink that to start the show, and you know what you're going to say? That's delightful.
What's the silly little moniker? What am I supposed to change it to?
It's not
Now-
silly.
now, again,
and
your
I don't
liberal
appreciate.
bias.
I don't appreciate being.
Yeah, what is now you're being mocked.
Yeah, this is.
I'm just trying to get it right for the people.
It is an all-American city, Ryan.
Is it the American city or an all-American city?
all-American city because multiple cities can win the award of being an
Yes.
all-American city. Salina being one of
Look
them.
it up here. Your silly little moniker.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
What an ass.
Bunch of liberal BS coming out of sewer mouth over there from San Francisco.
Sewer mouth. I like that.
Probably just jealous. That's all I'm saying.
So we do have a hack
Yeah.
on the tweets.
Can I say actually it's kind of a funny hack though?
You think so?
Well, most of the time that you get hacked, it's usually just like gay porn and the most offensive thing ever. Some N-bombs, maybe some anti-Semitic stuff. Like really, like, oh my God. One of these hacks is I hate Mets. Like, if you're going to get hacked, this isn't a bad way to get hacked.
So it's the great Buster Olney of
Yeah.
ESPN.
Over 1 million followers.
Yeah, 1.3 to be exact. And he has been hacked by someone who continues to tweet from his account.
Yeah.
The first, I think if we go all the way back, I mean, it's about an hour ago, I think. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but
You're like, man, one of those. Well, now he's reposting stuff. He's just spamming.
yeah, so whoever hacked into Buster Olney's account has tweeted the following. This was about an hour ago. Sorry, I got hacked.
Mhm.
And then the next one says, what is happening, really? And then there's a Drake meme. I don't know why. He's laughing. The next one says, I've always wanted to do what I'm about to share in 2 minutes. Then there's a picture of the hacker, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some guy in a hoodie
Yeah.
and a face mask. And then he said, I know it's cringe, but was my dream. Then he tweets, I promise that if 500 comments write, Ogun F your mother, I will give the account back to its owner.
Yeah. So, again, so far there's nothing that's been awful.
And so far 127 comments, so not
Yes.
the 500.
Yeah, we have maybe we can be the ones to put Buster Olney's account back in his hands.
Then he writes, I swear to you, I don't even know who I hacked. Who is this Buster? And then he writes, I hate Mets.
Yeah. Just not the Mets. He just hates Mets. in general.
Then it's, okay, if I get an unlimited prison sentence, who will come and bring panties?
Hey, I don't know I don't know why, but that it gave me a chuckle. You're in prison, someone needs to bring you some panties. It got a chuckle out of me.
Okay, we have to break. But when we come back, I'll tell you the rest of his tweets, including some trades.
Yeah. Which I'm sure actually got some people.
Well, I had to do a double.
Yeah, because it is Buster Only's account.
Yeah, it is exactly.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off. Is the one that I saw was the Lewis Robert trade.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, okay, that makes sense. And then I was like, well, wait, I'm not seeing that anywhere else. And then I looked at Buster Only's account. I'm like, wait, that is Buster's account.
Yes.
What the heck?
Yeah.
What is happening?
That's the beauty part. He's mixing in some stuff that may actually,
Yeah, and then we had Lindor to the A's.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, okay.
Ah.
Oh, okay. We've got bits. All right, it is 3:48 on the Fan.
It's the Fan. Prime Time with Isaac and Sue
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
on 1080 The Fan.
All right, we're talking about Buster Olney's Twitter account. Why, you ask? Because it was hacked.
You ever been hacked?
Oh, what? What do you mean, like my Twitter
You
account?
ever had an account hacked?
Are you talking Twitter or just anything?
Just
or?
anything. I don't know. I had my Instagram hacked once,
Oh.
but I have like, I have like 4 things posted on there. That was years ago.
I had my Instagram hacked and I put out some ad for fake Ray-Bans or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it was that sort of a hack, and I never was able to get it back. I had a lot of cool memories on there, and I tried emailing them and resetting it, and they're like, never happened.
You lost all that white privilege, didn't you?
I know. Didn't document it,
Wait,
which
so you
might be
guys-
better for me.
You've both had your Instagrams hacked?
Yeah.
Years ago, same thing. I just flushed it. Like
Now,
I said,
how does
yeah,
that happen?
Probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Like,
I
do they
don't know.
just get your password somewhere and
couldn't tell you. I don't know.
was that a data leak?
I have no idea.
Probably because every time I get one of those, this password has appeared in a data leak, I just get lazy and don't change the password. Probably.
Yeah. Someone just started posting like a bunch of like random stuff on there. I don't know if anything was like particularly bad. Again, I think it was a lot of like shirtless dudes. And I was like, oh, all right. Same thing. And they were like, I don't know what to do. So yeah, they just shut it down.
Well, what do you? Oh, they shut it down.
They just I had like 4 things posted and like 9 followers. This was years and years ago. I don't know. It wasn't that hard to be like, oh no. So you just got to hold the customer service people or whatever, and we just shut it down and you start a new one.
I would
But
like
if you've
to.
got like 1 million followers and like you're a big reporter like Buster, that
yeah,
sucks.
It's no good.
Yeah.
I would like to point out before we get to the rest of his hacked tweets, Ryan Buckley, that the All-American City Award, which is a community recognition program, it's in the U.S., given by the National Civic League.
It's a big deal.
It is called the Nobel Prize for Constructive Citizenship.
Oh,
And Salina is
interesting.
one of over 500 communities across the country to have won one.
Define constructive citizenship.
Just being rad.
That's a good definition.
Has Buckley's hometown ever won the All-American
Well,
City Award?
that's a good question.
Probably
Let's
not.
take a look. I don't see it here.
feel
nope.
like someone-
nope,
no.
it's not on the
I
list.
just feel like someone's a bit jealous. That's
Funny
all.
how that works.
Yeah.
And yes, this
Jealous.
Vancouver Ford text line is correct. There is a big difference between Jason Sekanic, Great American Center, and Jason Sekanic, All-American Center.
Very different. Absolutely.
Both are nice, but one
True.
comes with an award.
I also thought it was not an. You're just one of another.
Look at Buckley continuing to
Wow.
throw shade. The jealousy is not becoming.
It's palpable,
yeah.
Buckley.
Yeah. It's a little disappointing,
Be
to be honest with you.
better.
Yeah.
And I contend that if Buckley went to the All-American City of Salina, Kansas,
He would.
he would love it.
I probably think it was pretty okay.
The tune would change.
You could go to the water park.
Yeah.
They have a water park there.
The water park and the Applebee's, I'm sure he would. Well, now the new Martinelli's.
The arts community,
Yeah.
the art scene is wonderful. There's maybe even a gay guy.
I would think so. Maybe a nice bar somewhere. Not a gay bar, but, a nice bar. I don't know. The Eagle is really flourishing in Salina, Kansas.
So here are the last few hacked tweets from Buster Olney's account. One of them says, the Philadelphia Phillies and Chicago White Sox are finalizing a deal that will send star outfielder Luis Robert to Philadelphia, sources tell ESPN.
That's the one that got you. Were like, oh.
Well, that's the only one I saw.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow. White Sox are dumping their only good player.
Yeah.
So it did confuse me. But then I saw the New York Mets are finalizing a deal that will send Francisco Lindor to the Oakland Athletics.
Should
And
we
then I was
pl-
like, oh,
should we play the fun role of Lindor's salary versus the entire A's payroll?
yeah, I'm going to go higher.
Let's take a look. Let's see what
I think it's higher. You're saying that Lindor makes more money than the A's?
I'm wondering if
Or you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I think he does.
I'm
I'm going to say yes.
off the top of my head, I thought that he was going to make more than the entire A's roster.
I think he does.
We'll pull that up. See where we're at.
Then he says Shohei Ohtani has been banned for life
Yeah, I did.
from the MLB
Yeah, and he's expected to be arrested or something.
in connection to charges with gambling. His trial is on August 28th. It is speculated he could get life in prison. Then he's just piling on.
Yeah.
He writes, Baltimore O's are relocating to Las Vegas, and the Oakland A's will stay in Oakland.
I'm sure there were people that were freaking out over these.
If
Then-
you see one of them as a one-off and not in succession, you would absolutely believe because it's from actual Buster Olney.
Yes.
Then He writes, the season is canceled due to COVID.
That was another one. I'm not going to lie. Between the I hate Mets, going to prison, need panties, and then the COVID one, I got a chuckle. I chuckled.
Then he's got, I love this guy, and it's a picture of Billy Bean
Yeah.
from the A's. And then his last one, the most recent tweet, was 40 minutes ago, and it reads, friends, we had fun together. I think delete your bad tweets. This man may sue you when he wakes up. I don't want to see someone I had fun with in prison. I'd be sad not being able to see him. I have no idea what
Couldn't
any of that
tell you.
means.
No idea.
But that's the last one.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's over. I don't know.
Yeah. I would assume at some point Twitter at least is going to shut it down. I don't know if they can give it back to only, but yeah, they got to eventually shut it down. And by the way, no, Lindor makes like 35 mil, and the A's
What
are
are
like
the A's
the
at?
A's are in the 50s.
Okay.
So
All right.
not quite.
Well, Shohei, is Shohei on his $70 million
Yeah,
deal yet?
all deferred, but yeah, his would be. He would make.
He
more.
makes more than.
Oh, he dwarfs it. I think the A's I saw was like 58 and some change. So yeah, Shohei kicks the living hell out of the A's, but not Lindor.
I thought there was one too on this hacking bit where he posted. I think for a minute he may have deleted it. He posted Olney's.
People are terrible. Well, and then you always wonder too, like when people get hacked, then people get in. That's like what happens to celebrities is they get hacked because they want into their like direct messages, and then you get the nudes that are leaked. But something tells me Buster Only doesn't have a bunch of dong photos that he sent to like other reporters. So
It appears now all the. I'm glad we got those in because they're all gone.
yeah,
Olney's account is back to normal.
okay, we're okay.
They've all been deleted.
Oh, by the way, this just in via the Vancouver Ford text line. Buckley's hometown, Bupkis. Salina, Kansas, award-winning. Vancouver, Washington,
Two-time
two-time
All-American City.
All-American City. 1957.
Yeah, I just can't flex like that.
1987. Which means, when was Salina voted All-American
well,
City?
it was a big deal when I want to say maybe the 90s.
Yeah, while you were there?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just like to point out, Buckley,
Yes.
you elitist leftist jerk, not only of our two wonderful towns.
Where did the leftist part come from?
You heard me, San Francisco liberal. hippie.
89.
Oh, yeah.
We were 1989.
We were both, look at that, 2 years apart. We were both part, not just the hometown. You and I have
Linked.
been part.
Linked
Sewn into the
Linked.
fabric.
Sewn into the fabric.
since the 80s.
We were in the communities when they were named. By all accounts, we could have been one of the reasons why named All-American City.
Right.
Jealous, Buckley?
Clearly he is.
I mean,
The answer is yes.
I don't think that would be the word I'd use, but something like it.
Quite frankly, I'm surprised Buckley wasn't fooled by one of those posts, considering his record with getting ball sacked.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh, God, that would have been amazing had Buckley gone to a breaking news segment with an Ohtani or a Lindor.
Wait for only to
announcement.
tell us that someone signed a prospect named Steed Creamroper.
That may be the best of all the times you got
Cream Roper.
ball sacked.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
Well, but to be fair, we all wanted a
Yeah.
prospect named Steed Creamroper.
We sure did.
We still do.
Yes.
We still do, guys.
Someday.
Well, I don't know how these hacks happen. I guess somebody
Yeah,
just gets a hold of the password or something. But whose account would you love to hack?
Well, ooh, that's pretty good. And by the way, this is why they say that you have to make sure you change passwords, because like on your bank or anything important, if you miss your password 2 or 3 times, it just gets locked, right? And then, but on a lot of places like social media, you can literally try 1,000 times and nothing happens. And so like there's programs that can just continue to try things, and if they get that password and you have the same one as your bank, well, then that's the one that's problematic. So you got to have, you can't put important passwords on something that doesn't have a lockout screen if you fail enough times.
I could have some fun with Donald Trump's account.
I don't think he has
Doesn't
one
have one.
anymore.
Got to go over to Truth
Oh, that's
Social. You want
right.
to hack him there?
That's right. They kicked him out of there, didn't they?
Yeah,
But
you-
there are now accounts that are like
Yeah.
Donald Trump tweets, and somebody just copies and pastes whatever he put on Truth Social and put it on that timeline. So
boy, I'd like to get and having fun. Like nothing like obviously awful or trying to poke around someone's private
Parts?
things.
Oh.
I wouldn't mind getting a hold of Clay Travis's account.
Oh.
I could have some fun. I could have some fun with Clay Travis's account.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be fun. There'd be a lot of that's. I don't know why. That was the first one that popped into my head. Stephen A. The Skip Baylesses of the world. It definitely. I'm just thinking the Troy Aikman stuff alone with Skip Bayless. It would be fantastic. I could do. I got like 12 tweets just waiting to go on and a lot of shirtless photos of Troy Aikman.
Another one that I think would be fun is Prime.
Oh yeah,
Dion's account.
Absolutely.
Get in there.
Yes.
Try to think about who would be the most upset by it. Like who would really get worked up by the fact that you had control. I mean, Trump's a good candidate for that for sure.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, I can't see him handling that well.
He doesn't handle many things well. Just
Aaron Rodgers.
Roger.
You could spew some like ridiculous big brain stuff that he's researched or
that'd be
researched
good.
and throw out. And because it's like he says enough stuff that's kind of crazy that you're like, he actually believes that?
Yeah.
So
you could throw some weird stuff on there and people be like, oh my God, there's Aaron again.
boy, I'm telling you,
Aaron being Aaron.
he may be the one that you could really get the most sideways with, and people wouldn't realize, that it had been hacked. You could go pretty far, and not have it ring a lot of bells.
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot of news stories. The Onion was ahead of its time.
Yes,
Because you look at Onion headlines now.
Yeah, they're not.
And it's like that. I don't know if that's real or. I mean, obviously the Onion's fake, but I just mean some of those headlines. It used to be so ridiculous that it would
Yes.
never happen. But now it's like that would happen.
There is something terrifying about that. Yes. Like if you took any rando story now that we just blink at, you're like, whatever.
Yeah,
You
real or
you
fake.
took that
It's real.
back a handful of years ago, you'd be like, no effing way. That's why Idiocracy is right around the corner.
All right, Stock Watch is coming up. Up next, Scotty does it again. 4:05 on the Fan. We tend to do that on Mondays. This guy,
Especially with you coming back from an all-American city.
And I've been told.
This guy on the Vancouver Fort text line says, the new preventative measure for hacking is to restart your phone once a week, deleting any Trojan horse files, apparently.
Oh.
That is a thing. I've read that.
Does that work on all phones? Or?
Yeah, they say you're supposed to do that.
Oh.
It helps your battery life. And then if you got malware running.
Oh, I can't say I knew that.
I mean, I don't know. I read it. I don't know if it's true.
I'm going to start doing it now. Hey, someone said it on the text line. That's good enough for me.
Aaron Rodgers probably does it.
Probably. Well, I'm sure he's got all kinds of weird stuff going on there. That guy seems awful concerned about stuff that really doesn't affect his life on a day-to-day basis, but that's a lot of us.
So we're going to North Carolina for the U.S. Open this week.
Yeah.
Pinehurst.
Didn't you poo-poo Pinehurst?
No. Oh, God, no. Pinehurst is great.
Which did you poo-poo? There
Well,
was
Valhalla.
Valhalla?
Yeah, and
No.
I'll tell you why. So Valhalla was where they held the PGA Championship, just
Yeah.
won a couple weeks ago by Xander Schauffele.
It's where Scotty Scheffler got charged with felonies.
That's right. That's right. Pinehurst is exceptional. It's way better than Valhalla because Valhalla, the reason why you saw a really bunched up leaderboard, right? There was a bunch of guys up there, 16, 17, 18, 19 under. And that's because the course, it didn't really penalize
Bad shots?
mediocre shots or bad shots. Like they could all hit it kind of in the same place, and then it was just who made more 15-footers. Pinehurst will penalize mediocre shots, and that's gonna separate that's gonna separate the guys who are really the precise guys who are really playing well, hitting it in the right spot, from people who are just dropping it in there 20 feet and making putts. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's the U.S. Open.
Just a much better golf course.
Well, the U.S. Open in general should be didn't Koepka win it plus? Am I
Over par, you mean?
Yeah. Am I off on that?
I don't remember. Maybe. I think that's right.
I thought I remember.
It's always hard.
And it may not have been Koepka, but it wasn't that long ago that someone won a U.S. Open, and I think they were 1 or 2 over.
Well, they're thinking, well, last time they played at Pinehurst, the U.S. Open, Martin Keimer won it. He was 9 under. The next guy, second place, was 1 under.
Yeah.
Koepka was 1 over at Shinnecock when he won.
Shinnecock, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so it could be like that. Only a few guys under par.
See,
And Webb Simpson, Justin Rose went back-to-back years over par in 2012 and 2013.
See, and I don't mind that. As long as it is not, I don't like when, and you hear players say this, I shouldn't be punished for hitting a good shot. There are things where it's silly. Like, you put the green in a place where it's basically impossible unless you hit it within a 2-foot radius to hold the green. Like, that's dumb. But I don't mind when a golf course challenges the best players in the world to shoot par. I'm fine with that.
You will not see any rough out there. They have no rough, kind of like Augusta National. Instead, they have this wire grass. It's going to be cool. I think it's quintessential U.S. Open. It's going to be great. Scotty Scheffler won again last week, or this past weekend. Yeah. So he has now won 5 of 8.
5 of 8, been charged with a couple of felonies and produced a child. So
yeah, wild month for that.
He's on one.
Did you?
By the way, could have won another major, except for that was at round 3. The next one after the arrest was the only one that he chumped it. Otherwise, we could be talking about a Scotty slam. Let's say a Scheffler slam, but that sounds weird.
I saw in the last 8 events he's played in, only 9 guys have finished ahead of him.
Right.
Because it's like all wins in a couple seconds, so 2, and then the
8.
7 that he finished ahead of him at the PGA Championship.
Yep, that's right. They're saying, I was looking at some data. You like data?
Take that for data.
It's data. I think it's called Data Golf. They do a DP index, and it basically has a formula that ranks the best seasons ever.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Woods' peak Tiger was 2000.
Sure.
Believe it or not. Well, maybe not peak Tiger, but that was
That's
that season was incredible.
Was that the Tiger Slam? I know it wasn't all in 1 year, but at one point he held all 4 majors.
He was young at that point. And
that wouldn't have, because the first Masters was what, 98?
98 maybe,
something like that.
In 2000, he played the U.S. Open and the Open Championship in 31 under.
Mm-hmm.
Next best was 2 under. Yeah. So that is, according to Data Golf, the best season ever. Scotty Scheffler right now ranks second.
Really?
This right now, what Scotty Scheffler is doing is the second best season in golf history, according to Data Golf, in their DP index. He has 5 wins and 8 starts, and he's got, I mean, I think it's only 10 guys have ever won 8 or more tournaments in a single season. He's won 5, and we got half the season to go.
Yeah. Think he gets another major?
Well,
are we in that territory? Because that's always silly when you do that. I mean, you think about, over a career, you win 6, 7 majors. You're one of the greatest to ever do it, and yet there are people that venture into that. Like you win one, and it's like if you only get one, it's viewed as a disappointment in a season. And he may be venturing into that territory.
Look, I mean, if you're going to say of the 2 majors left, he's more likely to win at Pinehurst than he is across the pond. That's just a little different over there. Not that he can't win there, but this is tailor-made for him. Dude, he's the best driver in the world. He is the best iron player in the world. He ranks number 2 behind Matsuyama around the greens. I mean, he's generational tee to green. If he just putts a little bit, he wins. Yeah. He's that good. His putting last year, he was 161st, which is nuts. This year, he's 71st. So he's still not. I mean,
it's crazy.
He's not even top 70.
It's crazy that you can be that average at something and still be this historically good.
Yes. And now he is the largest U.S. Open betting favorite since Tiger in 2010.
Well, I always said it's good for, and I hate to call golf a fringe sport. It's just, but it is. It's a fringe sport. And I'm a big believer of fringe sports need stars. They need heroes worse than anything else. It's like the whole WNBA thing. Like, all the WNBA players can be pissy about Caitlin Clark all they want, but they're not even a fringe sport, for God's sakes. And having her come along is good for everyone. And golf is always searching for that guy. And, Scheffler, unfortunately, doesn't have a personality quite like, at all.
Are we sure he has a personality?
Well, at least we got the arrest now. I mean, it's something interesting. It's something other than... I didn't care whether I won because I was already redeemed through the Lord. Like, that's not going to get it done. So the fact that he's in the headlines, people that aren't golf followers now know who Scotty Scheffler is. Scheffler could be that guy that, that becomes a star. It's not like Tiger had the world's greatest personality either. That guy was dull as dirt. And yet he became a global icon. So this is having Scheffler go on one of these runs and win another major or two. This is good for golf at a time when they desperately need it. Because we talked about that, like the U.S. Open snuck up. The PGA certainly did. I mean, most weeks, the biggest story in golf is that no one cares anymore and the whole stupid live fracture. So this is Scotty's arrest. And if he wins another major, that is good for the game of golf.
All right, up next, it's our Primetime Stock Watch, what we're buying and selling from the weekend in sports. 420 on the Fan.
It's back.
the plate. And there's a deep fly ball to left. Castellano, I mean, holy God. I'm sure there's worse innings out there, but in a must-win game, and by the way, you were in the lead in the first one as well, and you blew that one. So to see that at the super regional level with a chance to at least extend your season to go to the College World Series, I can't put it any better than they est in both hands and clapped twice. Never seen anything like it.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to buy it. I don't know how, I don't know what rival's giving up 9 runs in 2 innings.
I'm
sorry, 9 runs on 2 hits.
Yeah, on 2 hits.
I mean, in 1 inning. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah, you would think that it's almost impossible. Like, if I told you that was going to happen, you're trying to conjure ways it could happen.
Well, let's move over to the Lexington region where things were knotted up between the Beavs and the Kentucky Wildcats.
This isn't good either.
And this happened.
Keljo, the pitch. And it gets away from Weber. And Oregon State's not covering the plate. And scoring from second base is McCarthy.
And Roxy, I was actually looking at Keljo the whole time. As soon as we get the ball away from Weber, he's walking to home plate the whole time. There's no urgency to get home. Weber does a great job of being able to get back there, but watch Keljo. He's walking the whole time, doesn't expect the runner to come home until the last second. It's way too late.
That's the difference in the game, by the way. They lost 3-2. That was the winning run.
So buy or sell, falling asleep at the wheel for the winning run of a 1-run game is actually worse than whatever happened in the 7th inning in the Ducks game.
No, because look, it's inexcusable when you see it. I mean, Keljo never. I guess he just thought that the guy was on second. He's going to get to third, no big deal.
He wasn't thinking about him.
He wasn't thinking about it. But if you see, even if he just jogs to home plate, they've got the Kentucky guy dead by a mile. The catcher is ready to throw the ball to home plate when the guy's halfway down the line. I mean, he is dead to rights. And that's a 2-2 ball game. And you live to fight another day and see what happens. That's inexcusable. And I would say as a one thing, that's worse in theory, but it's one play as opposed to 7 guys walked and a hit batsman, 3 runs walked in and a grand. No, the Ducks thing is worse, but that beat to lose a game like that on just let's call it what it is. You're just lazy and you're not paying attention. That's bad.
I disagree. I actually think the Oregon State thing is worse because what happened to the Ducks is just that was more absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, it snowballed on them. But in a tie game, that was the game.
Ugh.
And that's inexcusable. I mean, as a pitcher, come on, man.
I mean, it's literally baseball stuff.
It wasn't even close, too. Like you said, all he had to do was turn around and see where that guy was. And the second he saw him turning around third to go home, he would have beat him there by a mile.
Yeah.
And so would the throw. I mean, it's just that's really bad.
I wonder when they sent, because Keljo wasn't it wasn't like his back was turned or whatever. He just was standing on the mound looking at his catcher. He saw the catcher looking. I wonder.
Why didn't?
Did he not see the panic on his face? Or
I don't know. I wonder when the Kentucky guy sent him. I don't know. I got to go back.
Why he sent him?
That's the only thing I can think of because he was
the run. Did the runner go on his own? He could have. He saw the whole play in front of him.
That's what I'm wondering. I would love to hear, and I didn't see any post-game comments from Kentucky. At what point do you send that guy? Because had he got thrown out, and he should have been, someone on either the player or the third base coach had some explaining to do because there was no way
It's possible
that you should have sent the guy there.
entirely possible that kid
Just
rounded third and he saw home wide open. He saw the pitcher not paying attention because it was right in front of him.
Yeah.
And he just went.
Yeah.
Heads up play.
I guess, yeah. I mean, ballsy play, and it again, that was the difference in the game, and Kentucky moves on, and Oregon State, unfortunately, a great season, and
I mean, it's just
comes up
inexcusable.
short.
Look, sometimes you have bad innings, but that is pertaining to Oregon.
That's the Weber timeout, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that
that's
is really inexcusable. What he did. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna buy the stock that
Go with
Oregon
the Beavs?
State. Yeah, I think that's worse.
And bonus question on that same topic. I don't know if you saw the photos circulating Twitter.
Sell.
Jonathan Smith in the stands in
What?
Lexington for that game. Buy or sell, kind of a weird move for the Michigan State head coach from East Lansing to
Yes,
go down to
buy.
Lexington for the Beavs game.
All the buys. Yes, that's weird. What's he doing there?
Everyone wants to know.
Who knows?
Get out of there.
Is it possible that he has, and I don't know, is he friends with coaching staff?
I'm sure he has
Or him and Cannon,
friends.
like buddies? I mean, I don't know. It would have been nice to see him. Like, I think he should have worn an Oregon State Beaver baseball hat in support of the school. But you
What
know,
was he wearing?
Oh, that he
I
was
don't know,
wearing
just
plain
generic
Nike stuff. Like
Nike stuff.
some people said he was blue. It looked great.
I don't know.
Like he was supporting
he
Lexington,
He just was
perhaps, or
wearing Nike.
Kentucky?
He was wearing generic Nike stuff.
He was.
There's no what the shades of blue, and some people are saying it's like it was just Nike generic stuff, and I had no problem with him being there. I mean, God, he went to Oregon State, he coached there. Maybe he has some friends on the coaching staff. I actually thought it would have been a classy move had he shown up wearing an Oregon State Beaver baseball hat.
Would that actually like tick people off more though? Oh, now you support us. You know, like would that make Beaver angry? I feel like it would.
Grow up.
Well, it might tick off the Sparty Nation, you know? Like, they're like, what are you doing?
Michigan. It's not like Michigan State was there. He's playing Kentucky. I don't know. Was he friends with anyone from Kentucky? Couldn't tell you. I had zero problem with him being there, and the reaction, and especially with the blue stuff. Grow up a little bit, people. Like,
I'm not saying it.
Can mom and dad have a divorce and then like actually spend some time in the same room together without someone getting stabbed with a fork? Like we just
In some instances, no.
no. And you know what? That shows some emotional maturity on the part of Jonathan Smith. Show up and support. I just would have preferred there to be a Oregon State baseball hat. Go down before the game and grab a hold of an equipment manager and be like, hey, can I get a hat? I'd like to put one on and support.
Hook me up with a polo, maybe.
Yeah,
And the equipment manager's like, who are you?
Get out of here.
What's your name?
Turncoat.
Support. He went there. It's his alma mater, and
Yeah, I guess so.
You know.
He did go there.
That's the best excuse he has. It's my alma mater. I'm
that's a
supporting
good
my
point.
school.
That's a good point. I'd forgotten about that. Otherwise, get the hell out of there.
Little on the fly producing. I do have 2 more clips, but I think they could be repurposed later, and we might want to hop over to In the News. What do you think?
we do have bowl news.
Yeah, the bowl news is right at the top of my
It's something else.
ITN notes.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll get to In the News, and you said you have a couple clips there. We got
Yeah, I've got one about Xander taking on the GOAT, and I have a Shark versus Battery audio.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which could maybe be for the club.
I'll tell you,
Dude.
what, I don't even.
I feel like at this point,
It's bits, right?
It's bits.
It has to be.
it's bits.
That can't be a sensible like you thought this out and
No.
this is.
They're doing bits, and the joke's on all of us.
I've got many friends at MIT. They're very smart.
All right, so we will get to that coming up. In the News is next. The Stock Watch each Monday brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. 435. Here's Buck.
This is a U.S. Open Week edition of Primetime. edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
on 1080 The Fan.
Right in the butt.
All right. Welcome back. It is June 10, 2024. It is time now for In the News. I am your noted newsman back in the saddle here, and I have to report on Party Bus.
Yeah.
Yes. An Oregon woman unwillingly jumped aboard the party bus.
How do you unwillingly jump aboard a party bus?
Well, it's when the party bus takes you for a ride and you don't see it coming.
So she was unaware that she was getting on a. She thought she was getting on a city bus, and it turned out it was like a booze cruise sort of thing. I need deets.
Oh, you're going to get deets.
Can't wait.
5 people were hospitalized after a bull escaped an arena at an Oregon rodeo and charged into patrons.
This I saw.
Well, that's Party Bus.
Oh, that's Party Bus?
The bull's name.
Oh.
That's a good name.
The bull's name was Party Bus.
I've seen plenty on this. I was not aware that the bull was Party Bus.
So the video has gone viral.
Oh, yeah. Poor woman.
It's all over the news
Yeah.
nationally. And this woman just gets absolutely trucked out of, and she did not see it coming. Like, Party Bus is, so he's just running around the little, what do they call it? The arena?
Well, yeah.
What do they call the?
Well, I mean, he's in the arena. Yeah, he just got done doing his bull thing. I'm sure he bucked someone off.
Right.
And then he decided enough was enough.
So he's running around. He's like, I'm a bull. Check me out. And then he just hops the wall.
Yeah.
He just hops the wall
By the way,
right into the crowd.
Yeah, you got to put up higher walls now. Remember that was like when the tiger jumped out of the San Francisco Zoo cage. Someone's got to check how high that thing can jump.
Well,
yeah, it's kind of an impressive leap. He gets out and then now he's just free.
But he did it so easily that my first thought is, how has this not happened before?
Well, I think the idea is that, most bowls, that's.
Are they too stupid?
Well, it's just the idea of where is it going? Like, you're in the pen, there's it's. The bull doesn't have just a necessary instinct, and most of the time that it's done being ridden, they rope it. They've got cowboys out there, they corral them in there, and the bulls are specifically raised for a rodeo. They know at the end of this, they go into the pen, and look, I've been to plenty of rodeos. I've seen rodeos on TV. I've been to the National Rodeo Finals. Can't say I've ever heard of a bull jumping and then just heading out into the general public.
The text line telling us that they were singing Lee Greenwood's Proud to be an American when it happened.
They were. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, well, believe
you can
me,
hear it on the video.
Any rodeo you go to, at some point, you will get
maybe multiple times.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
By the way, the lady didn't die.
Nope.
And so let me state for the record, go bull. Because I like going to rodeos, but at the same time, I do feel for the animals, even though they're treated well. I feel for him, and this bull had enough of our BS and decided for a little revenge. By the way, that lady's got to see that coming, too. She just stood there.
Yeah, she didn't see it. I don't think she was looking at
You got to dodge.
the bull. I think
Someone, you're standing there eating your corn dog. You got to keep your head on a swivel. Like, because you see the cowboy coming running in late. That guy should have been yelling. Like, what do they yell when the punt is coming near you? They do I forget, what do they yell? When you're on special teams.
Peter?
What?
Is it Peter?
Yeah, Peter. When the ball is coming at you, we need a chant in rodeo. Peter. That means get out of the way. That poor lady gets trucked.
Yeah, she gets ragdolled for sure.
Omaha!
Red panties.
So the bull jumped the barrier,
Red panties!
With ease.
charged onto the grounds of the rodeo, and ran to the holding pens.
Yeah.
And I can only assume that the cowboys, like, this is their whole thing.
Yeah.
This is what they do
This
in
is
the
what-
rodeo.
this is what they do.
Did they just go corral him like they do in the rodeo?
Yeah. Eventually, they made their way out, and they got some ropes on him, and it was fine. And he gets a couple other people, too. She gets the brunt of it.
Yeah, there
but
were 5.
But he gets a handful of people, because you know what? There's a chance that bull is, he knows that when you go all night of the bull, he knows deep down this may be his last chance. He may be on someone's dinner plate after this. And so you get every bit of revenge that you can get.
Yeah, there were 2 people struck by the bull, and 3 others were injured as the crowd responded to the
trying to help
bull.
out. Yeah.
The injury included the injured included one person who may have had a broken collarbone, a female with a leg injury, a female with a broken nose, another female with facial injuries and possibly a broken nose, and then a male with facial abrasions and a possible head injury.
Yeah.
but they are all
They're gonna
out
be
of the hospital.
They're going to be all right.
Yeah, none of them are in the hospital.
Got a great story, though, right? You're
Crazy.
hanging out, and next thing you know, that Sisters Rodeo is a big deal. You go down there, I've never been to the Sisters Rodeo, but whenever you go through Sisters, they won't shut up about it. It's a big deal down there.
Well,
guy
Party
sits
Bus-
on a horse for a little while, and then a bull gets loose and, railroads some people.
Party Bus, if you must know, finished tied for third in the first round there.
Oh, nice. Is he going to be okay?
So
We're not.
maybe-
No repercussions?
They put him down.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Thank God.
Bull jokes.
And by the way, I heard the morning show talking about this. Just FYI, because the lady was wearing a red shirt. Bulls are colorblind, so just that's a myth. Because the lady was wearing red.
The whole seeing red thing.
Yeah, and because it's kind of a weird thing because when Party Bus gets out, the first thing he does is take out a trash can, and the trash can is red, and then the poor lady's wearing a red shirt. And so a lot of people are like, who would wear red to a rodeo? Bulls are colorblind. It's the movement of the cape. Like when a bullfighter does it, it has nothing to do. The red is just for showy for the people. The bull can't see your red shirt. So you don't have to color coordinate when you're going to a rodeo.
Well, I'm guessing Party Bus is going to be pretty famous now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind
of like Scotty Scheffler getting arrested. Now it's like, oh, all right, street cred.
Yeah.
For Party Bus.
Well, especially amongst all the other bulls. He's back there just swinging a big old bull D now, telling everyone else, yeah, I jumped the fence. Yeah, I took out this old lady too.
Jack those cowboys up. What now?
Yeah, what's up?
All right, up next, spike strips. We have spike strip news today. And Kroger's giving away free ice cream.
I do like ice cream.
You don't even have to pay for it.
Party Bus.
It is 4:48 on the Fan.
This is the Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
I think it helps a lot. Throwing different guys at him, different guys that play defense differently, some aggressive, some not. But I think even our white guys go. So it's hopefully it's a challenge on them, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
There's Drew Holiday of my Celtics.
Yes. Your Boston Celtics, your soon-to-be NBA champion. By the way, if they win that, this will break the tie with the Lakers. They both have 17.
Ah, really?
Yeah. This will be 18 for Boston.
The Fans Window into Sports brought to you by Window Nation. This month, receive 50% off all windows, no interest for 5 years, plus a bonus 10% off through June 30th. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. I think he could have said it in different terms of it's really hard to succeed as an NFL head coach. And I want to make sure that when I take that jump, I'm in a great spot where I know I trust the owner, I trust the GM, I have a quarterback in place.
But don't all 8 of those teams take that as a shot at them then instead of the coaches?
I think it's a little bit different when you say there was 8 coaches hired and 5 of them are going to be fired in the next 2 years. We all know who those coaches are.
Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on 1080 The Fan.
This month at Car Toys, it's all about Alpine. Find exclusive deals on receivers, speakers, amps, and more for a limited time. Choose from select Alpine Apple CarPlay Android auto receivers from $299 and get a $100 instant installation credit plus free speakers. Take up to 20% off Alpine speakers and subs. Save up to $150 on Alpine base packages starting at $239. Love what you drive at a store near you or cartoys.com.
Car Toys, a better way to go.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or Ceiling Paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
If you're looking for the most epic place on Earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
This is a U.S. Open Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
On 1080 The Fan.
All right. Pleased to have you along. This is in the news.
Hot party bus news.
For June 10.
I've always wanted to name a bowl.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think that'd be cool.
That's a great name for a bull. Like they kind of had names like fighter pilots do with call signs, and they're usually excellent.
I remember because we used to watch the George Michael Sports Machine growing up, and George Michael was a big rodeo guy, and Lane Frost, who was like maybe the most famous bull rider of all time, he was killed by a bull named Taking Care of Business, I believe, which was pretty ominous. I remember when they were talking about it, I was like, that's a little odd. You know, like, yeah, he's taking care of business, and he just killed the guy. Ew.
The driver of a stolen semi-tractor.
Yeah, I saw the aftermath of this.
Yeah, that was up by you, huh?
Yeah. I was going into the gym today, and there was a large kerfuffle there on the freeway.
The driver is in custody following a police chase from Portland into Vancouver Monday, ending with a standoff on I-205, closing the interstate. Deputies had to use spike strips to stop the semi, puncturing the tires. One of the tires came completely off, forcing the suspects to stop in the northbound lanes of the interstate just before 11 a.m. The driver and passenger then barricaded themselves inside and refused to get out.
Yeah, where do you... I often ask this of the criminal mind. First off, if you're going to run, really, you're doing it in a semi? And then two, once the semi has been rendered immobile, where are you going there? What are you doing?
Like, how long are you going to wait them out there?
Like what?
How long do you think they last in there?
Well, I think it didn't go on for like an hour or two?
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
They were taken into custody. They were like, all right, fine.
I just saw the big backup, and I was like, what the hell's going on there? And then they were like, oh, it's stolen semi. And that was my initial thought. You got to steal something a little faster and maybe something less conspicuous. Maybe a nice Honda Accord that blends in. The semi? It's not good.
They originally arrested the woman, but she has not been charged and has since been released. The driver is a 39-year-old man by the name of Jesus Meza Sanchez. They call him Jesse.
Yeah.
He has been charged with assault, elude, criminal mischief, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and possession of a stolen motor vehicle.
Yeah, he ran like a couple police cars.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, to get away.
He sure did.
You wonder too. My thought when I read the details of it, you thought maybe they were doing it in there, like
maybe.
Well, you're in there with your lady. I'm assuming you go into jail for a while. You ram some police cars. You don't know. Maybe you hurt someone. They spike stripped you. You get in one. Old Jesse turns to his lady. He's like, "Hey, I may be going away for a while. How about one for the road?" And if that's the case,
it's entirely possible.
I respect the decision. I do.
I'm going to show you my boobs.
Yeah. Something. I mean, the guy's going away for a while. Give him a little something. Show him some teat.
Kroger's giving away free ice cream.
Give me deets. Is that Fred Meyer's a Kroger, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, this is nationwide.
Yeah.
They are celebrating the official start of summer, June 20th. Kroger supermarkets will be giving away a total of 45,000 pints of Kroger brand ice cream.
I'm not going to lie. The Kroger brand ice cream, I don't know if I'm buying that. But it's free.
Yeah, you're not buying it. It's free.
Yeah.
So they're saying 50 pints for each of the 900 minutes of sunlight expected that day.
Okay. How do I, who determines who gets their hands on the free cream?
You must first visit freekrogericecream.com.
All right, I'm out. I'm not doing that, but
on June 20th. To download a limited-time single-use digital coupon good for any pint of Kroger brand ice cream while supplies last. They are valid through June 27th.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I'm going to do that because I do enjoy a frozen treat, but you're not. I've already forgotten the website.
freekrogericecream.com.
I can't get like the little ice cream sandwiches. It has to just be a pint.
Yes. And there's a store locator on their official website. But we have a bunch, Freddy's.
Yeah, Freddy's. Yeah, maybe if you could give me like because they make all like, could I get like a fudgesicle or like a nice creamsicle like that? I might download save me $3-4. But
Are you on freekrogericecream.com right now?
no, I'm not.
Okay.
Are you? Are you?
Not yet. Ice cream. I love ice cream. It's really delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's amazing.
It's ice cream. But I will say that is probably the one thing I like most that I never have.
Really?
Ice cream. I never have ice cream.
Love ice cream. Ice cream, it's like...
Well, again, I love it too. I just never eat it.
Oh, dude, I'm all about it. Especially if I'm putting it on. Like, I won't eat pie or anything without us. Like, if you ask me, hey, do you want some pie? My first question is there ice cream involved? Because if there's not, what are we doing?
Ice cream can be very dangerous.
Oh,
very
Yeah,
dangerous.
you can keep going. 100%. Looking here, I have officially gone to the free ice cream page now. And
what do we got? Is it easy?
Yeah, it does seem pretty easy. And then it gives you all the choices of their ice cream, and it does seem like there is there's a decent selection here. There's no rum raisin from what I can tell.
Well, if you get the coupon, you got to wait 10 days. It's not until June 20th.
Yeah. It's like if you go to Kohl's, they're like, here's some cold cash. It's available for 9 minutes, and it's not eligible for 6 more weeks. You're like, what? Like, all right.
Kohl's cash.
That's how they get you. You go to buy some sensible slacks. They're like, here's $900 in Kohl's cash. You're like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's eligible next November. From November 2nd at 8 a.m. till 8:04.
What a racket.
If you don't, it's out.
All right, that is in the news for June 10, 2024. The Hot 5 at 5 is next. We've got, what do we got? We've got an NFL coach getting re-upped. I've got a little recruiting news for Oregon football as well. All next in the Hot 5 at 5 on The Fan. All right, so sticking around here for Window Nation. Weather impacts your windows, and it's going to be getting hotter here. Hot days, sometimes, in the winter, cold nights, they can cause caulk to crack, seal failures, condensation. This is a problem. It's a problem. And so windows over time, it's not a check you want to write, but you have to replace them. Okay, and you guys know that. But a lot of you have probably been putting that off. Well, now at Window Nation, these guys are the experts. All they do is windows, and this month they are giving you one sweet deal to make it easier to write that check. I mean, you won't get a better offer than this. Window Nation is offering, with their semi-annual sale, 50% off all window styles, 0% interest for 5 years, and they are going to give you an additional 10% off if you schedule an appointment before June 30th. I mean, that's 60%. I can add 50% plus 10%, 60%. That's crazy. And so these guys, they can install your windows in a day or less. They all come with a lifetime warranty, and they are customized windows by Milgard, made locally for our climate. So to get a free, no-obligation quote, it's very easy. You can call them at 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com to get it scheduled. It is free. It is no obligation, but you'll want to save that 60%. So if you've been putting it off, now's the time for new windows from Window Nation. Call 866-90-NATION.
Hey, I'm Brett Podolsky, co
Welcome back. Hope you're having a nice little Monday. It's your Sports Bros. Me, Isachi. Big Sook's right over there.
Yeah, plain old me.
We're back.
Yeah.
We're back together.
God dang, what do you think?
Ryan Buckley is here. The only one of us not from an All-American city.
Yeah.
Ryan Buckley. Coming up tonight in the club, we've got a lot of things. We've got Python news that has hit the headlines. I don't know if you've seen it.
You missed it. We didn't get any Python news. We had hot animal news. We had ringworm sex news, spider news. There was a lot going on while you were gone last week.
You haven't seen the Python bit?
Was that? You know what? We almost got to that on Friday. I think was it in New York? Is that the Python thing?
Well, no, there's that too.
Oh, okay.
Two bits of Python.
Yeah,
news.
I've got two. Yeah, I've got two Python stories.
No, I haven't. We haven't gotten to either one.
Mm-mm.
Somebody called. I forget where I saw it. They called snakes nope ropes.
Oh,
I've seen that before.
I kind of enjoyed
That's
that.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I heard that for the first time this last weekend. At any rate, nope rope news
I watched a movie
in the club.
That last weekend called Reptile, and it was with Justin Timberlake and Benicio del Toro, and I thought that. And then, like at the beginning of the movie, you see like the lady who dies, like finds like a big like snake skin, and like this ominous foreshadowing. And I really thought that somehow a snake was gonna play a role in it, and then nothing. I was very disappointed. It's called Reptile.
Why was it called Reptile then?
I think it was something more about like it was like in reference to like someone being sneaky. It was very weird. I kept waiting for the snake to play a role in it. It's called Reptile. You find the snake skin right before she gets killed at the beginning of the movie, and then nothing else is referenced the entire movie involving a snake. I found it. I got thrown for a loop. I was like false advertising.
Also in the club tonight, I have a shocking new study that is revealing that people believe hot flight attendants give better service.
I think that people assume that hot people do everything better, and I'm the exact opposite. I want a nuggo. Like if someone is performing a service, I feel like the uglier you are, the harder that you are going to perform said service. Well, within reason, maybe not all services, but most.
So that'll be the club 6 to 7. We've got a little leftover sports audio from the weekend coming up this hour. The Ducks and Beavers bow out of the baseball tournament. And some other cool, awesome stuff. But right now, we've got to get to the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victoricos.com. Number 5.
Well, if you would like to see the worst team in baseball, they're in Seattle for 4 with the Mariners beginning tonight. The Chicago White Sox are 17-49.
Yikes.
The Mariners sit atop the AOS, 5 clear of Texas. The M's calling up top prospect Tyler Locklear in place of the injured Ty France. He doubled in his major league debut yesterday.
And while you were gone, Ty France broke the record for most hit batsmen by a Mariner.
In a season or career?
Yeah,
Career. Kept the ball
career.
to commemorate it 90 times.
Yeah.
Did you play enough baseball to play with a guy who had just the knack for getting hit?
No.
I was that guy.
You were that guy?
My freshman year of baseball, I got hit 21 times in 22 games.
I always respected that.
Guy that would lean in
Yeah,
a little bit.
a guy would wear it every time. I
Yeah.
mean, just uncanny. And apparently that's Ty France.
Ty France.
On the ice tonight, my Oilers look to bounce back in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, big controversy going on down in Sunrise, Florida. Connor McDavid wore the same jacket to Game 1
Number
and
4.
Game 2.
Really?
ESPN's making a big deal about it.
Why would he do that?
Because he doesn't care? They do the big fashion walks.
Well, they're on the road.
Yeah, they do the fashion walks. And so everyone, it's a big topic going around now on ESPN and on the Twitters.
They're like, what are you, poor? Just one jacket?
Connor
What are you,
McDavid,
poor?
Connor McDavid wore the same sport jacket. Go Oilers, by the way. Suck it, Panthers.
Only 2 leagues representing In the College World Series, the SEC could have 5 of the 8 in Omaha if Georgia gets by NC State. And checking that score on the Fan.
So, by the way, Pac-12 officially is dead. Like, done.
Yeah.
That botched covering of home plate, the last scoring play in any Pac-12 competition.
Finished.
Yeah, right now, NC State and Georgia tied 2-2 in the 4th inning.
That's the deciding Game 3 there?
Yeah, the winner of that goes to the College World Series. So if the Pac win, both leagues will have 4 there. You have Kentucky and Texas A&M both in. They dispose of, obviously, the Beavers and Ducks. And then Tennessee and Florida are in. And then from the ACC, it's Florida State, Virginia, and North Carolina. So it could be 4 ACC teams and 4 SEC teams.
Yeah. Well, that is
and no Pac-12 teams.
It would be only the second time ever there were just 2 conferences represented, and the first time since 1948.
Steelers give head coach Mike Tomlin a 3-year extension.
Has never had a losing season in all those years in Pittsburgh.
He is now signed through 2027. He is just the 3rd coach for the Steelers since 1969.
Oh, now you want to talk about stability, huh?
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And Tomlin, now the longest tenured coach in the NFL. This will be his 18th season coming up.
18 seasons, never had a losing record. I know the one, and I love people that are like, oh, he only has 1 Super Bowl. For God's sakes, Mike Tomlin is a great coach.
Yeah, he's awesome. Belichick had him, and now Tomlin, the longest tenured. Who is after Tomlin?
Ooh, that's a good question, because Petey's gone.
It's not Andy Reid.
I was going to say Reid in Kansas City.
Harbaugh, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Harbaugh. I was like, Harbaugh just got... I was like, oh, yeah, the other Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh.
The other Harbaugh. For a minute there, I thought you were doing bits. I was like, Jim Harbaugh? What?
Another big win for Oregon in recruiting. The Ducks have landed 4-star offensive tackle Zaire Addison. He is out of Tampa Bay, Florida. He chooses Oregon over Georgia. Take that, Kirby not so smart.
Somehow I think Georgia's going to be fine.
6'5", 285. He is considered one of the top tackles in the class of 2025.
Tell you what, that Dan Lanning and his staff, good at recruiting.
I got to tell you, of all the, besides quarterback, of all the positions, when your team lands a stud, nothing gets me hotter than the offensive line.
Well, I mean,
seriously, because it's so important.
Yeah, Dan Lanning's whole thing was, in order to win championships, you got to build the lines, and he certainly has put his resources into that, and they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, their defensive line, between recruits and the transfers, it's one of the best in the country. And by the way, you were right, John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh. How many years?
16. Andy Reid 3rd, and then no one else even has 10 seasons.
Who's 4th then?
Sean McVay.
Oh my God, really?
Sean McVay and so I guess McDermott, McVay, Shanahan all have 7 years under their belt. So that would be the out after those guys.
UConn coach Dan Hurley remains UConn coach Dan Hurley.
Yeah, apparently $70 million. Not enough to get him to LA. And by the way, I kind of thought that LA would have ponied up more.
Someone said that Kentucky offered more.
You mean UConn?
No, that Kentucky, when they were going to try to lure him away, was coming to the table with more than the Lakers.
I kind of thought that LA was going to come with like 15 a year and be like, dude, we're gonna give you a number that you can't say no to.
Yeah, the Lakers wanted Hurley and offered him 6 years, $70 million. But he says no, he'll go chase a 3rd consecutive title in college.
I mean, like, that's a lot of money, but that's not FU money in Los. And by the way, you're in Los Angeles. The housing market's going to eat up like 30% of that and taxes.
They said that he would have been like the 5th or 6th highest paid coach in the NBA.
Yeah, and you're walking into a situation, think about it, because everyone's like, oh, I can't believe you turned it down. I can. LeBron didn't want you. He wanted Redick. Anthony Davis didn't want you. Anthony Davis wants the assistant coach guy whose name escapes me. And by the way, LeBron's only going to be there for a year or two. You're going to have to deal with his bratty-ass kid that he's going to try to force you to draft and play. Anthony Davis, does anyone want to deal with that? They get their coach fired like every other year. By the way, you're a yeller and screamer. That's going to go over real well and with that team. And $11 million, isn't that what something like that they offered him? What was it?
6 years, 70.
6 years, 70. So more than that.
Is.
So like you're one of the 5 highest paid coaches, but it's not like FU. Here's $17 million a year. I don't know. Like that doesn't shock me at all. I really thought that contract offer was going to be $100 million. So,
well, I feel like the Lakers think that they can get anyone because they're the Lakers.
Well, apparently not.
And Dan Hurley says nay.
Well, and Hurley's wife, remember that was the whole thing about when he's like, dude, he goes, my wife is not going to let me move any further away.
She's a Jersey girl.
Jersey girl. So you imagine a Jersey girl that has said multiple times, I don't want to move around, and you're going to tell her that you're going to go live in Los Angeles?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That ain't happening.
No.
Victor Rico's Mexican Food brings you the Hot 5 at 5. It's the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. We have fun with weekend audio. Dan Hurley staying at UConn, and the Beavers and Ducks bowing out. All coming up on The Fan.
We're feeling a draft.
Whether it's the number 7 pick or a second-round selection, stars can come from anywhere in the draft.
Join Danny
Staying at UConn, it used to be that the NBA, it was a dicey proposition bringing in a college coach.
Mm-hmm.
That was the old adage was college coaches, they don't really work
Well,
in
it's
the
still
NBA.
true. There haven't been many that have. I mean, Brad Stevens had success.
Yeah, I think Brad Stevens is maybe the guy that kind of somewhat flipped that narrative.
Yeah, I mean, he was good. Never won a title, but he was good. Quinn Snyder had a little bit of success. Billy Donovan, but for the most part, it's the same thing in the NFL to college, or from college to the NFL. In college, and by the way, I wonder if this is going to change now because with NIL and the transfer portal and now players being paid, you don't get to just be a bully a-hole. Kids will be like, cool, deuces, out. But it used to be the biggest transition was not just a basketball acumen. I mean, God, if you can coach college kids, you can coach NBA guys, you know the game. But it's how you deal with grown men. Like Chip Kelly when he goes to Philadelphia, or anyone else. Rick Pitino. Nick Saban is the best example of this. There's great stories of Nick Saban being taunted by his players in Miami. You don't get to go into the NFL. Like I was with John Gruden, who most people know is a very heavy-handed coach, right? Doesn't take a lot of crap from people. Dude, I watch guys on the Buccaneers just insult that guy on a daily basis and Gruden do nothing about it. Keyshawn Johnson just didn't show up for days. He's just like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Defensive players made fun of him all the time, and he'd like be so pissed. But what are you gonna do? Are you gonna bench Simeon Rice? No, you're not. Bill Parcells, maybe the biggest red-ass coach of all time. Phenomenal story about Lawrence Taylor telling him that he was leaving practice at a certain time, daring Bill Parcells to make practice go longer. I guess Parcells had a thing like on, was it Thursdays or Fridays where practice ended shorter. And Lawrence Taylor made a tea time, and Bill Parcells was like, screw that, we're going long today. And Lawrence Taylor all through practice was like, hey, Bill, I got a tea time at 4:30, so at 4 I'm leaving. Daring Parcells to call him. And he right up until the end, Parcells finally blew the whistle and was like, yeah, we're done. Because Parcells knew Lawrence was going to leave, and he couldn't have that stare down with him. So that's the biggest thing is does Hurley, the money may be one thing, maybe it wasn't what he wanted, maybe it's not a great situation. That organization has been through coaches, but ultimately, I wonder if Hurley was really confident that his style would work with NBA players. Because I think he realizes, I mean, he even says, like in interviews, that he's heavy-handed. He says he's a bit of an a-hole. He's a hothead. And you have to know going into that everything you've built your career on, that does not work at the NBA level. And do you want to be the guy that goes in there and flames out, even though you get $70 million either way?
Yeah, I think a lot of those college coaches, deep down, they know that it's a crapshoot. You go to the league.
Yeah.
I think Coach K always had that. I mean, but Coach K had their respect, like Team USA and everything.
I always thought that he was the guy, and LA made him the offer, and he turned it down, stayed at Duke.
Yeah.
That was always the guy that I was intrigued because of the Olympic stuff and the respect for him. I would have loved to have seen if Coach K could have made that work.
I think, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Kansas fan, I think Bill Self would translate.
You think?
I do. But, I mean, who knows? Rick Pitino was pretty good. He wasn't really that good, was he?
No, in fact, I think his record was abysmal, actually.
I don't know. Well, he made the playoffs a couple times.
Well, look and see what Rick Pitino's NBA record was.
But that was a long time ago.
Yep.
So Dan Hurley's staying at UConn.
I thought with today's NIL world and everything changing and the fact that, they're in the Big East and now you got to scrape off $22 million extra to pay your players. I thought maybe Hurley looked at that and was like, yeah.
What's he making? Do we know what he's making?
Well, he signed the extension, but to where I want to say he was making, I'll have to look it up. I want to say he was making like 3.5 to 4.5, but they said they were already working on another extension to make him.
Yeah,
they haven't given him the new deal, and they're working on that.
Yeah. So they're gonna. So he was offered 11.5 basically per year from the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you he gets up in the 7.
He'll
maybe even 8 range. He's won back-to-back titles. For
exactly. And he will be the high. If he's not the highest paid coach, he's going to be damn close to it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, a little surprised that LA didn't come in with just it's the Lakers. Why wouldn't you come in just over the top?
Because I think they don't feel like they have to.
Yeah,
they feel like they're the Lakers. You should want to coach here. This is an iconic job. We have LeBron James. What's not to love? Oh, and here's 11.5.
It's a pound sand. By the way, old Vampire Ricky, not as bad as I thought. 192 and 220, 2 playoff appearances.
Was that in Boston or with?
That was with the Knickies.
Yeah, with the Knicks. Okay.
Yeah. In Boston, he was.
What year was he with the Knicks?
He was in Boston, or he was in with the Knicks, 87 to 88 and 88 to 89. And remember, that was when he was an assistant there, like years before. Ended up in New York, and then when he went to Boston, I'm looking. No, he never had a winning record in Boston. And then he was gone after a couple of years, and then goes back to college, and
he's still coaching in college.
Yes.
Still.
He'll never, ever leave.
How old is that dude?
Rick?
Is he in his
he's got to be
mid-70s?
He's got to be in his mid-70s, doesn't he?
Oh, we forgot about one college coach.
What?
The John Beeline experiment. Do you remember that?
For the Cavs.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Totally forgot about that.
He got run out of there in less time than
Blatt.
Than that.
David Blatt.
Well, no, I was thinking of the Milwaukee coach that just got turfed.
Oh, yeah.
Adrian Griffin?
Griffin. Oh, look how many games. How many games was he in Cleveland? 54 games.
John Beeline. Oh, okay. So Griffin got him. Griffin only was like 30-something.
He went 14 and 40 and then, quote, resigned.
Whatever happened to him? Is he back in college? He was a good college coach.
He was a really good
He went
college
to the Final
coach.
Four with Michigan,
Yeah,
right?
Michigan. And by the way, notorious red ass, shockier. No, that was it. He hasn't done anything.
He's done? He's just sitting on a pile of
Cleveland
money.
was 2020, and he's a couple Final Fours, won the NIT championship, and appears right now he's not doing anything. Well, he's 70. He's 72, so he probably won't do anything going forward. I'm just going to sit around and.
It says in 2020 he went back to Michigan to teach a course titled "Coaching as Leading and Leading as Coaching."
That doesn't make any sense.
There may be
just what the course
That's a convoluted course title. I don't like it.
There may be no bigger jump, college to pros, than the NBA simply dealing with the players. You imagine
Those
being
prima donna babies.
Yeah, imagine being a heavy-handed type coach in college, which is basically all of them, and then you land on that roster. The one that pops into my head, and I'm sure there's been others, but imagine you being a college just red ass. You've won a couple national championships, and you land on a roster, and you walk in. And by the way, the expectations are to win an NBA title, and you see James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant all walk through the door, and you're like, oh, how long before you want to resign? How long before you're just begging them to fire you so you can take your money and go home?
I think my coach would be a shrink. I would hire a shrink. Well, that's what Phil Jackson always said, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Phil's big thing was, he's a good coach and everything, knows basketball, but really he said the key in both Chicago and LA was just getting these personalities on the same page.
Player management.
And how he did that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
Like he was good at that kind of stuff.
He was great. I mean, because again, all those teams were talented. I mean, it wasn't a talent issue or, cohesion. It was just getting buy-in. This is why it always pains me. But the best thing that Doug Gottlieb's ever said, and there's not many of them, is he said the NBA job is the hardest job in the world because in order to succeed, you have to get buy-in, but you can't get buy-in until you succeed. So, that's why the Coach K thing would have been interesting. But because of the Olympics, there was buy-in. But there's no way that Beeline or Mr. Hurley is going to come in there and tell Anthony Davis. I would love to hear what Anthony Davis would have to say the first time that Hurley rips his ass for, not setting a pick right or not hustling down the floor, or God forbid Anthony Davis is like, my back's tight tonight. I'm not playing this one.
Yeah, Hurley would have to tone it down.
He'd have to.
Surely he's smart enough to know that.
And I think maybe that's ultimately why he didn't take the job.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's the wife. And, again, he's the king right now.
Yeah.
He's top of the game.
Yep.
That's a pretty risky move going to the Lakers.
Yeah, but it's a risky
LeBron.
move with $70 million. Like that negates some of the risk.
But LA, the cost of, you talk about where he's living and what he said about his wife.
Yep.
And then you factor in LA and then there's no guarantees you're there that long.
Yeah.
It's doesn't even seem like it'd be that hard of a decision.
No.
Short of just getting just a bag of cash, which $11.5 million is a lot.
It's
way more than he's making.
It's not that much.
But it is a lot. But if you think about where he's going to be living, and factor in the raise he's going to get on the East Coast and where he's living there, it might even be a wash.
Yeah, well,
that's pretty close.
That's what I wanted. Like you say, 11.5. Well, let's just make it 12, right? It's not 12. It's 6.5, maybe 7 per year. I mean, LA, it's I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's either Los Angeles, New York, highest tax state, and so you cut that to 7. You're trying to buy the house that's going to make your wife happy, so you drop a pretty penny on that son of a gun. Cost of living sky high. I mean, yeah, it's a raise, but let me ask you, at that money versus what he's making it at UConn, does it change his life? It doesn't get you a plane. That, like I said, it's not FU money.
It's an ego job.
Yeah, anything he wants, he can buy with his UConn job that he can in LA.
Well, and I also think, some of these coaches, I really think this is true. I think some of these coaches don't even respect the way the game's played in the NBA.
Yeah.
They like the college. I mean, some guys just like the college. Roy Williams always
just liked it better.
Well, he always said that. But I don't know if that was just him. He just never got the offer to go to the NBA.
Yeah.
But he's just, some guys are just more tailored to the college game. Their personalities suit the college game.
Yeah. That's code
the
for
way they coach.
I'm a raging a-hole. That's usually what that means.
In the NBA, it's just, I don't know.
I also feel like college coaches don't really want to let players just kind of do their own thing. As far as like, how many college coaches want to watch Luka just dribble the air out of the ball and then maybe dump it off at the last minute of the shot clock, or the matchup problems just getting the pick and roll 50 times a game. Like, I think a lot of college guys aren't into that.
Well, and you're right. And so much in colleges, you do have to run. You have to run a really structured scheme, and a lot of times in the NBA, you're right. When you've got a guy like Luka,
it's pick and roll.
It's pick and roll, and guess what? Luka's going to have the ball in his hand 75% of the time. When it's not in his hands, it's in Kyrie's hands, and that's just kind of the way it is.
Boring.
Well, that's Phil does talk about it. That one of the great things that Phil did. Look, lots of people can run the triangle offense. The thing that made Phil great is he got number 23 to buy into the triangle offense, and that's what's the hardest part of running the triangle offense? Getting Jordan to decide that he wants to run it instead of dropping 63 in a playoff game against the Celtics and losing.
A college coach who I think would be good in the NBA is Jay Wright.
I could see that
because his personality is more
measured,
laid back. I could just see guys liking him.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Self. Self can be a red ass too, but he's smart enough to get into the NBA. I just think those guys would like him.
Yeah.
And Jay Wright's got that. I don't know if Jay Wright, I don't know what he's doing.
I've never even seen him get angry. Jay Wright. He keeps his cool so well. Like, he's not going to scream at anybody.
Doesn't he kind of fit the Lakers too?
Yeah.
When you think about him and his suits and
because he's hot.
Because he's hot.
He is a handsome man.
He and that GM could do gay porn.
Wow.
Well,
look at that.
I'm gay.
Rob Pelinka and Jay Wright.
It's like when
OnlyFans, let's go.
It's like when Brady Quinn was doing games with Joe Davis.
Yeah.
And they pan in, they pan up to the booth for the pregame, like, hey, welcome to the game. I'm Joe Davis and I'm Brady Quinn. My God, it looked like gay porn.
They're very handsome.
They're so handsome, and it looks like they're about to make out. Same idea, Jay Wright and Rob Pelinka.
Well, and some people said this about another coach who, again, flamed out in just a couple seasons, but people said that about Coach Cal, that he was a player's guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And that he could be laid back and work, and I don't remember.
How long was he in with
He was
the
in
Nets?
Jersey. I think he was with those, wasn't he not with those Kerry Kittles teams? And
he wasn't there long.
I don't think, I'm going to say, I think his was a pretty spectacular flame out as well. But I remember people saying that about Cal, that if someone could get along with, entitled star players, it'd be Coach Cal. But
they saw through him too.
Well, that too.
Smarmy.
And a lot of times when you're going to an NBA roster that needs a coach, especially taking one on a college level, your roster sucks. I don't care who you are. If you end up on you could give me, Jesus could go coach the Washington Wizards. He ain't coaching them to the playoffs. It's just not.
Yeah, Cal was in New Jersey for 3 seasons. Well, actually 2 seasons. And then he went 3-17 and got turfed.
Whoops. So 2 and some change, 2 and a cup of coffee. And how much money did he get in those 2.5 years? So, take a crack at it.
Well, what do the Lakers do?
Well, I mean, before this, supposedly it was Redick,
hey, JJ, you still interested?
You go back to LeBron's guy and just, And if you're JJ, you're like, hey, what was that Hurley contract you were offering him? I'm gonna need to
put another penny on it.
Yeah. Do you? If you're Reddick, are you like?
Well, to me,
are you pissed now?
You got to play your cards. Like, who else is giving JJ Redick a job? Shut up and take the job.
But also, if
I bet
JJ
he'll be a
Redick,
coach.
he already interviewed for the Charlotte job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet you somebody gives him a crack.
If he really wants to do this, is the Lakers the first one you want? Like with this whole LeBron situation?
Look, I would take it over the Charlotte job. Yes,
I would too. But
the Charlotte,
but this
really?
is good, but this is a
You're
disaster.
gonna take that big Charlotte job?
No.
are
I'm
you?
not saying Charlotte's better. I'm saying JJ is a young guy. Do you start here? Or do you wait for something else?
I think you do because you have LeBron.
You got LeBron and you still have Anthony. You got two guys that made the All NBA team. No offense, but on the other side, you got LaMelo Ball's fragile ass and Brandon Miller.
Well,
and like 4 decades of ineptitude.
I'm not saying Charlotte's better. Definitely not.
Not only this, but how many guys have a good enough relationship with LeBron that they feel comfortable coaching him?
Yeah, not many.
Not many.
No.
And JJ Redick has that.
Yeah.
And that's got to make him feel better about this gig.
Because again, if buy-in is the thing, you've already got buy-in from the only real guy you need to get buy-in from. Because if you get buy-in from him, he can tell everyone else, including Anthony Davis, to shut up and fall in line. If you're LA, go get Redick, and at least you keep the old man happy, and maybe you don't have to draft his crappy kid and stick him on your roster.
All right, it is curtains on the Pac-12. Next, here's Buck.
This is a U.S. Open
Well, the Ducks and Beavers are out of the college baseball tournament. They will not be going to the College World Series.
Well, and the Pac-12 is out of everything. It's over.
It is over.
Dunzo.
Yep. The Beavers loss.
Yeah. How about just bat on your shoulder to end a game and end a conference? I'm not faulting anyone, but that's a crappy way to go out.
That
I'm very confident.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Just sucks. You always want to, the idea, if you're going to go down swinging, but, people strike out looking. It happens.
Yeah, so so it's curtains on the Pac-12. I don't know if do you have any sort of top of mind favorite Pac-12 memories?
I have a lot. I mean, growing up here on the West Coast, and my brother played in the Pac-12, and I should have played in the Pac-12, except I was dumb and went to BYU. Dumbass. I know. I have so many. The one, honestly, for personally, because I chose not to go there, the one I won't forget is actually with you. It was the first time Oregon, under the Chip Kelly regime, went and played Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. And, I've said many times on this program, I don't miss a whole lot about football. I just don't. I played it. It was fun. I liked my buddies, but I never wake up and are like, man, I miss playing. That never happens, ever. And I remember standing down there we were for the pregame at the Rose Bowl, and both teams came out and they were doing the flyover and all that. And I just remember sitting there and looking over at the Oregon players and thinking, this is the first time, and by the way, might be the only time since I got done playing, that I was jealous. I really, I was envious of them. And so going to some of those Rose Bowls over the years, the national title games, seeing the rise of Oregon, that was really cool. And being on the field for Civil Wars, the year Washington State with Gardner Minshew took down Oregon up in the snow. I'll remember that. I'll remember, Pat Tillman at Arizona State and that Jake Plummer team, going to a Rose Bowl. There will be a handful of those times that I remember from just kind of us covering it. The Pac-12 is and that doesn't even, go into all the other Olympic sports, but I'm just talking about mainly football, which was kind of my passion, obviously, that what we cover. But it's a sad day. 100+ years of a conference gone, seemingly for, I guess a good reason is a butt ton of money, but it stinks. Oregon State, the rise of Oregon State baseball. I remember when Oregon State won their first national championship, thinking to myself, wow. And Pat Casey was such a good dude who I just loved cheering for. And seeing them win a national title, I won't forget that one. Goosebumps.
Yeah, it is kind of sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all over.
Yes.
Do you remember the time you farted on Clay Helton?
I do remember. Well, to be fair, I didn't fart on him.
That was one of my favorites.
He walked through a jet wash.
One of my favorite Pac-12 memories right there. That, and I always go back to those Oregon State USC football games, like
the Reggie Bush and in the fog.
There were some matchups where, and the Beavers took them out a couple times. Where, man, that was really fun because the USC, like if you were to say, because Washington won the title in 1991, of course, but outside of that, USC's run with Pete Carroll, like if you were to say what is the crowning Pac-12 achievement, it's probably that.
It was pretty good.
I mean, they were dominant.
Yeah.
I think they won 7 or 8 straight conference titles, and
it was pretty ridiculous.
3 Heismans, 2 titles. So they were amazing. But during that time, man, did they struggle with the Beavers sometimes.
Yep. I remember that,
and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, the Halloween game, right? Was it Halloween or like right around that time when they went down there and it was either on a Thursday or a Friday night, and Oregon State got them, and yeah,
is that Mark Sanchez throwing his wristband in the tunnel?
I think that was Sanchez.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. And the other one that I'll remember too is again selfishly is I can't tell you how many times on a Saturday night I was sitting around your house and you got a beverage in your hand and you're watching a game that really doesn't even mean anything to you, and you find yourself absolutely glued to it. Pac-12 After Dark will forever have a place in my heart because damn, that was fun.
Something like UCLA, Arizona's just going sideways in Tucson at like 10:45.
Yes.
Yeah.
47-45.
And you just can't get enough of it. And it was like Mike Leach, being involved in some of those, and it was awesome. And then, the Stanford-Oregon rivalry they had going on for a while, the slugging back and forth. It's just, it sucks. That conference being gone. It doesn't seem right. And next year, I mean, I got an email. I'm sure you did too, but we got an email for credentials for the Big Ten, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
it's like,
I declined.
Like, no, and it's 3 days, and like, I was like, really? Like that? I got to register now for the Big Ten Media Day in Indianapolis. It's very odd.
We hardly knew ye.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the Pac-12, like a lot of things we're mentioning were Pac-10 days.
Yes.
But it's kind of, I mean, it's all the same.
Well, it's Pac-8, and then it was the Pac-8, then 10, then 12.
But I don't remember the Pac-8. I wasn't out here.
No.
Most of the stuff that I remember is Pac-12, or Pac-10.
Yep.
And that was, I think it was, it was Oregon playing in the Civil War for a trip to the Rose Bowl.
Yep.
Which was 08 or 09, whenever that was. That was amazing. And
Yep.
the year before, I think the Beavers could have gone to the Rose Bowl, but Oregon beat them.
Yeah, it was old Jeremiah Johnson. I remember being at that. Was at that game, and it was in Corvallis at the Big Burrito, and all the Oregon State fans all had roses, and because Oregon wasn't having a great year.
And after the game, the wide receiver Jason Williams, he threw those roses on the ground and he stomped them out. There's a lot of like very famous images from that.
And I remember sitting, we were standing on the sidelines, like in one of the end zone during the pregame, and it was a weird feeling. And I remember turning to. I think it was with Dusty. I was trying to remember who I was with, but I remember turning to someone, and I think it might have been the fan man, and I remember saying, "Boy, it sure feels like one team came for a Rose Bowl party, and I'm not certain that someone didn't tell the other team that they're not supposed to win." Like Oregon seemed pissed.
Didn't they blow them out?
They kicked.
Well, if I remember, the first half was super competitive. It was like fireworks on both sides, and then Oregon boat raced them in the second half.
Boat raced them, and after the game, just the sidelines were littered with roses that the Beaver fans had disgustingly thrown. That entire stadium was filled with roses, and I felt bad for the Beavers, but at the same time, it was like you just felt it. You felt that one side just thought that that they were destined to go to the Rose Bowl, and someone forgot to tell the other squad.
And then the next year, they met. The Civil War was for a trip to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
which was awesome.
There was so, and then we had the weird. I remember the O for Washington. Season that was hilarious.
Was that Willingham?
That was Willingham, because I grew up with Washington. My brother, I haven't played at Washington State. I grew up with Washington being the bully, right? Like they were the team, and to see them go over, I don't think it was the over. It might have been. I don't remember if it was the over 16 or the one where they won one game.
The year of the Crapple Cup when they were going there for their first league win, both teams.
Yeah, me and my buddy, who's a diehard Husky fan, we went up to that game. It was in UW. And I remember being the same thing. I remember being on the sidelines and looking around and being like, oh my God, I'm telling you, those were the two worst looking Pac-12 teams I've ever seen in my entire life. I was just staring at the row linemen and I was like, they look like a bunch of high school linemen. And he was just shamed. He was like, I can't believe this is what my program's become. So there's just, weird things that you pick out. But
How about
20 years we've been covering this conference.
Do you remember Stanford? And I forget who was coaching them, but remember when they beat USC?
Harbaugh. Yes, that was Harbaugh.
Was that Harbaugh?
That was Harbaugh.
It was the "What's your deal" handshake.
Yeah.
Remember afterwards, because Harbaugh went for 2, and Harbaugh beat him twice. One time they beat him really close as huge underdogs, and one time they pounded him, and there was the "What's your deal" handshake.
What's your deal? Yeah, he went for 2, and I think it was like Timmy Chang or whatever, and Pete Carroll and Harbaugh got into it. Yeah,
Timmy Chang. He was Hawaii.
I think Timmy Chang was their quarterback.
No, he played at Hawaii.
No, I think Timmy Chang is the coach at Hawaii.
No, he played at Hawaii.
All right, now I gotta
I'm
look this
gonna.
All right.
I'm dying on
Timmy
this
Chang definitely played at Hawaii.
Who am I thinking of then was
I
the
don't
Stanford
know.
quarterback?
I don't know, but they were like 40-point underdogs or something.
I think it was the biggest like Division I or like Power 5 upset ever because 40 or 41 points that night.
But I can't. You're right. I can picture that quarterback, and I think he was.
Was he
from the islands?
I thought he
was
Tavita
Pritchard.
Yes.
Maybe that's
Tavita
what it was.
Pritchard. That's who it was.
Sorry. Yeah, he was a 40. You're right. 41-point underdog to Pete Carroll's 5-time defending conference champions, and Pritchard got him. Yeah.
And then later down the road, I think Harbaugh and Gerhardt smashed him, and like Pete was like, "What's going on, man? Why are you running it up on us?"
I thought the Stanford run there with Harbaugh and David Shaw was really cool.
Yeah, because
they were so good.
Because we also got to see the Buddy Tevens, Walt Harris days.
Yeah.
Remember, Stanford opened that brand new stadium down there, and they lost to like Sacramento State, and like 15,000 people showed up. And that was the day we vowed we would not cover Stanford again until they became a real program.
But nobody really ever expected them to be any good. You know, and then Harbaugh got there and Shaw was able to continue it. Like, they were awesome because the reason I liked them is they were a Big Ten style team.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool for the league.
Especially when, like, with Chip and those guys, right? And the Flash, and then Stanford, you know, they had all those great linebackers and D linemen, and they just, you know, it was just the
Two conflicting styles.
It's like the styles make fights thing. It was really cool.
All right, good times. Well, bye.
Hey, now we move
Pac-12.
on to
Bye.
Big Ten status.
And dude, that's great.
It will be, because this year, if things go to chalk, we are going to get the biggest game in Autzen Stadium history, and arguably the biggest game in college football this year. There's a chance when that game happens, it is 1 versus 2. Ohio State visiting Autzen. I mean, I know it sucks not having the Pac-12, but that's pretty cool.
Bright days ahead. It's going to be fun.
Bright days and $90 million TV contracts. That's, you know.
Yeah.
October 12th. Mark your calendar.
What week is that? Well, I guess I could do the math.
Looks like 6.
7.
So is there a hiccup along the way for Oregon before they get there that actually looks scary? I'm pulling up the.
Well, Oregon State.
Shut up.
What?
Yeah.
Don't be an ass. Now you're just trolling.
They open with Idaho. They then play Boise State.
Win.
They then play at Oregon State.
Loss.
At UCLA. Home against Michigan State.
No, they will be undefeated.
No, they're going to be undefeated.
They will be undefeated.
Most likely.
No, they're going to be undefeated.
Maybe.
No, they're fine.
Does Ohio State have a tough non-con
I'm
game?
looking here. So they start with West Virginia.
Okay.
Oh, no. God, that's women's. Why, if you click on Ohio State's schedule, does it have the nerve to give me women's soccer?
How dare you?
I'm seriously, I am offended.
That's probably the women's soccer team doing a bit.
I am very much bothered by that. I was like, they're opening with West Virginia. How dare excuse me, they open with Akron.
Okay.
Western Michigan.
Okay.
You want to take a guess where those two games are at?
The Horseshoe.
Yeah, they're
Or
not.
What are they called?
They're not going to. Yeah, the
Shoe.
shoe.
Yeah.
Then they get Marshall, also at home.
God.
Then on the road for a tough one against Jonathan Smith in Michigan State.
Mutual opponent before we play.
And then they get Iowa at home.
Punts.
Whew. Hey, new offensive. You don't know what their new offense is going to look like.
That's true.
And then they get the Duckies. Yes, they will both be undefeated.
That could be 1 versus 2.
That there is a good. We'd have to look and see what Georgia's got. But yeah, in theory, that will be either 1 versus 3 or 2 versus 4, something like that. It's gonna be phenomenal.
Awesome. All right, coming up next is an open sports segment.
Thank you. Bye.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here. Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
On 1080 The Fan.
By the way, I was looking at Georgia's schedule. Before, when Ohio State and Oregon are playing, Georgia will have had played Kentucky and Alabama and Clemson. So 1 versus 2 is not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. So is Georgia the preseason number?
I think Georgia's the preseason 1.
Ohio State's 2.
Ohio State's 2, and then it's like Texas and Oregon right there at like 3 and 4.
Okay.
The kind of newsy thing last week is that ESPN's Football Power Index came out for the whole season, which like runs all the algorithms 10,000 times over, and it had Oregon as the second highest percentage team to go to the playoff, to win the playoff, top team to win the conference. I mean, it really likes Oregon.
Yeah, people are digging what the Duckies have going on.
Everybody's jocking them.
Yep. So we shall shall see.
Has Autzen ever hosted a 1 versus 2 matchup?
I can't imagine that they have. I mean, look, there's not a lot of times that Oregon has been 1 or 2, and when they have, that means another West Coast team. I mean, I just don't think there's been a lot of 1 versus 2 matchups in the Pac-12 period.
I mean, with the Chip Kelly days, maybe a USC matchup in there somewhere.
The highest one I can think of was actually the game that Dennis Dixon first injured himself before Arizona against Arizona State. That was actually a 4 versus 5 matchup, and they got College Game Day.
Oh.
But I don't know that there's been a lower combined ranking in recent memory.
Can you guys shut up?
Well, there you have
it. Who did he get hurt? Because who was the original one? Arizona was the one where the knee.
No. So he
was
hurt
already
it
hurt.
against Arizona State, and then it was already a little bit torn. And then the next game in the first quarter, he tried to like plant on it, and it just blew out. But he had it started the previous week.
He heard it the week before.
It said this is from I found one from Duck Territory. This is from 2012. Oregon UCLA is only the 6th time that 2 top 10 teams have ever played at Autzen. So.
6 top 10. Okay.
6 times there have been 2 top 10
There have been a lot
teams.
more than that since. What'd you say that
That's
year?
That's 2 years. This is from 2020.
Oh, okay.
So it's really only been 1 year, and now we're into 2024. So last year, if I'm not mistaken, there was no top 10 matchups there at Autzen. So no, this is by far we've got, and they list them here. They don't list them, but it's in the article. So like this one was 9 versus 10. The one they're talking about in 2022. 2014, you had the 3rd-ranked Ducks beating 7th-ranked Michigan State. 2019, number 10, Oregon blew out number 4 USC. That was the Fright Night game. I remember that. That was into Halloween. The one that you're talking about, Buck, was number 4 Oregon, number 6 Arizona State, 35-23. And yeah, that would be it.
The Washington Oregon game last year, or let's see, which one was at Autzen?
The one
2
last
years
year was
ago?
at UW.
The one last year was at UW. Would have been the one before was at Autzen, because I was at the one last year at Husky Stadium.
And that was like 6 versus 11 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, this one was 3 versus 5.
Oh, then I'm assuming then at that one, that was the biggest game. So, look, Oregon and Ohio State in Autzen, that'll be the biggest game in that stadium's history. Because in theory, even if it's not 1 versus 2, both teams are going to start the season in the top 5. So, and there really isn't a lot of road bumps for either one of those teams at the beginning of the year, barring some sort of major catastrophe. At worst, that is going to be 3 versus 4. More than likely that's probably 2 versus 3, 2 versus 4. And that place is going to be electric. And, the Big Ten, and the last time Oregon, went to Ohio State, they got them. I mean, this is going to be unbelievable.
Oh no, the 3 versus 5 was the conference championship.
Conference title games, that wouldn't have been an Autzen.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been an Autzen. And then they played Utah. Yeah, see, Oregon's ranked 13th then. So, all right, well, looking forward to that. Buckeyes, Ducks.
So this is one of those where I'm sad, and if I could wave my magic wand, I would bring back the Pac-12. I would not want this, but that's like saying you wish your parents were to stay together. Well, it wasn't going to happen because Dad had a wandering eye, and Mom was disgusted with his beer belly. And she had an illegal credit card that Dad didn't know about.
Hey, what's wrong with a beer belly?
It was It wasn't going to happen. So just enjoy the fact that you had some good memories, you had some good birthdays, and now you get 2 Christmases, and you get an awkward step parent that's probably going to try to suck up to you and give you some cool stuff. So embrace it. Embrace the new Big Ten.
All right, we got to move on to the club. I've got, we got to start with Python news.
Yeah.
Two pieces of Python news. It's not good on any.
Well, is Python news ever good news?
On any level.
Like if you started a story with, hey, I haven't seen you in a bit, you come back like, hey, Sook, I got a Python. No, I'm immediately like, eh.
Well, Python news could be good if I were to say, like, hey, they're really making headway on these pythons in Florida.
Yeah.
Catching them all,
That's true.
But they're not.
No, they're not.
That's the problem.
Isn't it amazing with all our technology, we can't get some snakes out of Florida? What the hell, man?
All right. Well, I told you, did we talk about this a couple weeks ago? No, I was talking about this on the golf course yesterday because we were talking about Python news.
Yeah.
And when I was in Peru in the jungle with my drunk jungle guide.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about this off air, I think.
Yeah. I think I told you. I was hoping to see like some cool out there. Like the coolest thing we saw. Maybe we're talking about this on the air. The coolest thing we saw were the sloths way up in the trees. It was really awesome.
I think that's what started the conversation.
Well, you said the coolest thing you saw was him playing guitar by
that
the
was
sunset
cool too.
Or whatever.
That was cool, and the sounds of the jungle, and we saw some huge frogs and spiders and stuff. But I wanted to see like an anaconda, or something.
Yeah.
And he said this guy had been a guide out there for 40 years or whatever. He said he had in 40 years. In the jungle, almost on a daily basis, giving tours and stuff, he had seen one.
That's creepy.
Isn't that wild?
Something that big and it doesn't want to be seen.
And he was
found.
like, they're around.
Yeah.
They're right on the edges of the river there. Yeah. And he said he had seen one. Yeah. And he'd also seen a black panther once. Which is freakier. You're in the Amazon jungle, you see the anaconda or the black panther?
I'll tell you, it's freakier, but it's also the one that I would want is the black panther. Like that, it would be more fear-inducing because I'm not like the anaconda is not going to chase after you. If I saw a black panther, I would probably take a little poop in my jungle pants. But at the same time, I can't imagine something more spectacular than seeing that beautiful death machine go cruising through the jungle, and then I just have to pray that it doesn't eat my face.
Crazy. All right, we start with Python news to kick off the club next on The Fan.
Auto accident.
PK. I'm a little sad that I don't get to hear what Charles Barkley is saying. Because I'm guessing that
Does he know a thing about hockey?
I'm guessing no. It's Charles Barkley. I think it's like you talking about hockey, but, you know.
What are you talking about?
I'd still like to watch.
They should put me on there. I'd blow their minds.
You talking about Connor McDavid and wearing one coat? One coat, for God's sakes. The man makes $12 million a year.
I will say, Connor McDavid is really good. I will say
that.
I will say that.
I bet that's what Chuck said.
I have the courage to say that.
Even when you don't, I mean, you're not a hockey guy. Even if you're just casually watching, does a guy like that immediately stick out to you?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. He's spooky. I remember watching Mike Trout. I went up to a Mariners game years ago when Mike Trout was still Mike Trout. And I just remember watching. It was the first time I'd ever seen him play. And you just kind of watching him play and out in the outfield and run the bases and stuff. And just, you know, it's like he did anything spectacular, but it wasn't hard because my kids had no idea who he was. And both of them were like, oh, yeah, that's that. Like, that's the as I was telling about Mike Trout, they're like, that's him, right? And I'm like, yeah. Guys like that are different, they just stick out. Even amongst professionals, you're like, yeah, that guy's different.
All right, well, that's sports talk. This is not supposed to be sports talk. This is Python talk.
I need hot Python talk.
Well, have you seen the deal from Indonesia?
No, I have not. I don't know about the pythons.
Well, a python, a 23-foot
it's a big
python, killed and swallowed a woman whole.
You hear about these stories, and a lot of them are kind of like urban legends, but it does happen with small people from time to time.
It happens. This was a tiny little 54-year-old woman. Yeah. She went missing last week. She was checking on her vegetable garden, and they mounted a huge search, and they found her sandals and her machete a couple of days later, and about 30 meters away, it says, was a giant python with a huge bloated belly.
That's just awful.
So the residents are like, oh, that might be Our Lady right there.
Yeah.
So they killed the snake and opened it up, and sure enough, she was in there. Dude,
I can't think of many worse ways to go.
How long do you think that takes?
Dude, that's a good question. Well, they can kill you in a matter of minutes.
Well, I imagine they're killing you before they eat you because they're suffocating you first, right?
I've always wondered that. I think they do.
Because otherwise, aren't you just like kicking and fighting at their jaw the whole time? Like, I'm not saying it's like easy, but if you're not passed out yet, how do they?
Well, you may be passed out, but you might not be dead.
Maybe, yeah, okay.
But I don't know. I don't know how that all works. But they can. It says that they can. Like, imagine the feeling.
No.
You're checking your vegetable garden, and that sucker comes out, grabs a hold of your shin, and just starts twirling.
Yeah. There's a video of this dumbass woman, and she's got a big python in the cage, and she's doing something with it, and it grabs her hand, bites her, and starts wrapping around her arm.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And she's kind of panicking and stuff, but she's like, I think it's breaking my arm. And that's the thing. Like, if it wraps around your leg, even if it breaks your leg and you go down to the ground, now you're really
you're done.
You're done.
Think about that. Okay, so
you got a machete. You got to.
Oh, you do have the machete. That's...
Yeah, but if the machete's not with you or you drop it,
I wonder how much time you have to realize it. Like how much
exactly.
How much time do you have to like pull your foot out and bounce?
Yeah. See, that was going to be my question. Do you think that because you're a big guy.
Yeah.
We're all. I mean, we're not little like this lady here. If that python ambushes you and I assume it bites a lower extremity and then it just starts twirling, do you think you could get out of that, or are you dead?
I could get out of it if it didn't get my arms. If it gets
it's going to get your leg.
If it gets my leg, I'm pretty confident I can get out. If it gets around my torso, if it gets around an arm,
torso, you're toast.
I'm done.
But it's going to eventually get to the torso. This is what I'm saying. Like it's going to get your leg.
Yeah.
And it wraps around your leg, so it so you have your arms. I guess at that point you're just trying to peel it off of your leg.
Yes.
But those things, this is 23-foot long snake, dude.
Bless America.
Those things are so strong, and you may not have the leverage. Before it's gonna work its way up to your chest. And that is the worst way to go, because if that happened, there is a moment where you realize, dude,
Yeah.
I'm not getting out of this.
The only saving grace to me in this is I do think the python would look at me and not do anything because I'm too big to swallow. But if that thing, I don't know, man. I want to say that I could get free if it got a leg. If it gets an arm, I think I'm dead. Because if it gets an arm, even while you're fighting it, there's a good chance that it gets your other one. And if it gets both of your hands, then you're cooked. God forbid, because when I was reading a book once, or again, listening to a book, and it was about like the lost tribes of the Amazon. And one of them was like to your point about like the anacondas and the pythons that live in the rainforest. They seek out the babies and they kill nests. Like it is like a like death sentence. Because I guess what happens there in the rainforest is they live up in the trees and they ambush you from above. You're down there like harvesting something in a tree and the son of a bitch falls on you from above. That one, you're dead. Because now that's either your head or it's your chest and there ain't no way you're getting out of it.
But I always see those snake shows where they have these big ass snakes. Like, I mean, the Steve Irwin, I remember watching Irwin once.
Yeah.
Before he was murdered by a stingray.
Norm Macdonald does it sounds so bad. Norm Macdonald does a hilarious bit about that. About how all the crocodiles are pissed that a stingray got him and not one of them.
Well, I did, I remember I've seen enough snake shows where even if it's a big ass snake, a lot of times a strong male can unwrap that thing.
But remember,
but it's also not trying to constrict.
It's not trying to constrict, and there's always more people around. But that's what I'm saying. Like if you catch it early and it doesn't ambush you, and you're a man, I do think you can. I think you can get away. This is a tiny old woman. Like, I think it's different. As long as it doesn't.
She's got no chance.
No. As long as it doesn't get my arms, I think I'm okay.
23 feet.
Well, and it's completely different. But like when you start training jiu-jitsu, you have the unfortunate experience of learning what it feels like to be squeezed, and it is it's just an unusual feeling that you're not used to.
Yeah.
And we get to
squeezes when you exhale, right?
Yes. Yeah. Apparently, when the snake wraps around you, it knows that when you breathe in, it tightens it, and it just keeps tightening it, and it keeps tightening it, and it keeps tightening it. And the first time that you feel someone, like getting choked is one thing, like that happens and it's quick. You realize your head goes fuzzy and you tap or you pass out. But the worst one is when someone is being an ass to you, they'll just put body pressure on you. And I'm telling you, it is one of the worst feelings to have another man a grown man, like with his arms around you or his shoulder in you, and he's squeezing, and like you're not gonna pass out, it's not gonna kill you, but the pressure is so awful that you will tap, you will quit simply because you just don't want that feeling.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it feels like to have a snake that is way stronger than that man, and you know that you can't tap. And by the way, the snake isn't going to stop. I cannot think, knowing what that feeling is like, to have a person do that, that may be my biggest nightmare, is to have a snake wrapped around you and knowing that it will not let go.
Because you have time to think.
Yes.
I've done some reading on this now. It sounds like if it gets a hold of your limb, it could cut off your circulation and suffocate you within just a couple minutes. And then it would take a little less than an hour to eat you.
But it can't
get around your shoulders.
It couldn't get around someone like us.
Right.
No.
I think you're correct about that.
Yeah, they said, and that was the other one they said in the book on the Amazon, that it wasn't the men. They were always concerned about women and children, and the people in the Amazon are quite small. But yeah, it was always a thing where, and that was the other one too, is they say, we don't know, like in those remote places, dude, snakes kill more people than you realize. It's just, it's not reported because it's, some tribesman or woman or kid that just
goes missing,
and you're like, oh, that's the end of that.
Yeah, it says they kill by suffocation or cardiac arrest within minutes. They swallow their food whole. Their jaws are connected by very flexible ligaments so they can stretch around large prey. But when it comes to eating humans, the restricting factor is human shoulder blades because they are not collapsible.
Yeah. And the other one that I've read too is it's really hard to get them to let go because they have teeth that go the opposite way.
Yeah.
They have curved teeth the other way, and so when they bite on you, it is really, really hard. If the snake doesn't want to let you go, it's not going to. You have to make it uncomfortable for the snake, which is why you need another hand. So I was like another hand, and I can get into an eye or something and start doing some jabbing, maybe.
By the way, there is video of them cutting this snake open.
Yeah, ugh.
It's out there.
And I saw the thing. She was fully clothed and everything. She just popped out. Because it takes a while to digest it, I'm certain. There's video out there of those things eating like large hogs and small deer and stuff. And it's kind of incredible that it's in there. It just swallows it. At least if you're dead, you don't have to be broken down by the enzymes or whatever. Imagine being alive, being inside
What if
that
you're
thing.
not dead?
They say they won't eat you if they're dead. If you're not dead. If you're still alive and moving, they're not going to try.
Well, I guess that's the saving grace.
Someone's saying keep it off your neck. See, at least if it's on your neck, at least it's quick. When something grabs you on the neck, you just pass out. It's actually quite fast. It's shocking how quick it goes. I don't want the chest because that is not quick. You get to feel every glorious moment of that one. So if you're going to die, I'd much rather it just be my neck and have me pass out than it get around my
You
chest.
feel your ribs and your bones breaking.
It's one little pop at a time.
You cannot inhale.
No.
It gets harder and harder.
I am surprised, and I bet you it was a thing because, there's a lot of awful medieval ways of torture. The Vikings had something called the blood eagle. You should look into that. It's
No thanks.
It's particularly awful. I gotta believe that somewhere in an Amazon warring tribe or whatever, this had to be a thing.
We'll just throw you in the snake pit and let you fend for yourself.
I was
that kind of a
thinking
deal?
more like you just tie someone to a snake or to a stake, and then you're like, we're gonna bring out Mr. Bitey now. And then they just keep an anaconda for this sort of thing, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna let him wrap around you and see how that goes. That had to have been a thing back in the day.
We'll have more Python news.
All right.
The latest place that they are finding pythons. Next on The Fan.
It's the Vancouver Ford Tech
you take the lungs and you flop them out in front. And that's the breast of the eagle, and then you take the skin and everything and you flay it out and you hang the person like you would like on a cross.
Okay.
And it looks like an eagle's wings. And then the lungs in front. So that's the blood eagle is you literally, and you're alive up until whatever, until eventually the blood loss or whatever. But apparently you can be quite awake during the whole process.
What do you think about that, Buck?
Sounds pleasant.
How do you feel?
Not great.
Well, there's when I lived in Scotland, there was a medieval museum, and they had a whole section with torture. And the one that always got me was they would tie a guy down and they would put like a metal box over his torso, and then they would put food on him or something, some sort of rub. And then they would put hungry rats.
I've seen that, yeah. Or I've also seen it where
they
put like a metal pot over, and they heat up the pot, and it gets so hot in there that the rat or rodent or whatever wants to eat its way out.
Just eats its way through the guy. So there's all kinds of horrible things. But the blood eagle from my Scandinavian brother, we take some pride. We try to come up with some creative ways of doing some stuff.
I've always thought that while simple, being drawn and quartered would be awful. The whole tie one limb to 4 different horses and have them run different directions.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's real fun. No, I mean, that's... look, let's just say this. There's a lot of ways to get the job done.
Sure.
A
couple ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, if movies have taught me anything, all you need is a pair of pliers and a blowtorch, and you can have yourself a grand old time.
Well, did you see where they're now finding pythons?
No, I do not know where they're finding pythons. Hopefully not in my backyard, because I don't want that.
By the way, I saw another snake at my place
Really?
the other day. Yeah, a little gardener snake.
Cute?
No, not at all. And it's terrifying because I just feel like
they're coming.
Well, the Amazon guy. So my wife had another package delivered, and the Amazon guy sent her a private message saying, "Check this out." As he delivered the package, the snake was curled up on our doormat right in front of our front door.
Now, when you see the Amazon guy, I don't know if you're talking about the guy in Peru or the guy delivering your packages.
No, the package delivery guy.
You got a warning from the guy in Peru about the thing on your doormat.
No.
And by the way, isn't it weird that your wife's getting messages that say, "Hey, check this out"?
Yeah, yeah.
Check out this snake.
Check out this snake.
Oh boy, ew.
Yeah. So she showed me the picture, and it's like, oh my god. I mean, it was a probably 20-foot snake.
Really? Is this in the ROP term? So 20-foot snake. I'm gonna go.
Okay, 2 feet.
I was thinking more like 11 inches, but all right.
But then it slithers around down towards kind of like the foundation of the house, and now you know what I'm thinking.
Well, it's underneath. There's a whole
yeah.
den
There's
of them, right?
There's a billion of them down there.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? We're gonna have to bomb the house.
Well, you light it on fire and just.
I think that's right.
You walk away. What else are you gonna do? Nothing.
Anyway, no, they're showing up in New York.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's New York. It's New York's time to deal with the pythons?
There was a 2-foot python dubbed Sir Hiss, who was spotted at a store in the Diamond District. I'm not really even sure where that is. But this is the second snake that has shown up in the Big Apple in the last couple of weeks.
Well, all the New Yorkers retire in Florida. There's a chance that the snakes are retiring in New York. We're doing a little good for the goose, good for the gander, in this case, the python.
So it was 2 foot long. It was discovered inside Fantasy Diamonds at the corner of West 47th and 6th. There's a picture of it. It steps from the Rockefeller Center subway station. Sir Hiss.
I love that that's... You would think with all the New York sewer rats and whatnot that snakes would have a field day there, right? Like if we can't combat the Florida Everglade pythons,
city pythons,
could we do anything about city pythons?
Talk to the rat czar. Remember her?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like seriously, like we can't stop rats. Why would snakes be any different?
They just dump a bunch of them down in the subway. That'll make people comfortable.
Well, the snakes are smart because they're figuring out
there's a lot of food.
There's a lot of rats in New York. They're like, oh, this place is great.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying I want the New Yorkers to face an infestation of pythons, but am I the only one that thinks it would be interesting if someone like randomly took like 1,000 pythons and released them into New York City?
Not
and saw
interested.
what, and saw
not
what
interested.
You're not interested to see what would happen.
No. No.
You just have these like lolling pythons that are all fat and happy with like 30 rats in each of their guts, just rolling around.
You know, we already have rats and cockroaches. Why not introduce pythons to the mix? Look, I'm not saying I want it to happen. Would I be interested in checking it out? Absolutely. And by check it out, I mean just see the news stories.
Yeah, you ain't going there.
No. But when's the last time I was in New York anyways? No,
Would you live in a city? Let's say that I'm going to triple your salary.
Yeah.
I'm going to triple it.
All right. That's sweet. I'm making like
I know
30,
what you
making
make.
like 30 grand now. Whew. Tasty.
But you're going to go do a show in a city that has pythons. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say everywhere, but they're finding pythons because they're they hide.
They hide.
They're finding them all over the place.
Like as prevalent as rodents.
Are you taking that job?
Pythons, yes. I'll handle pythons for 3 times my salary.
Okay, anacondas, no?
No, I'm fine. Restrictor snakes, I'm okay.
Well, what are you?
There's only if you said that same thing, but you changed it. The restrictor snakes, while they freak me out a little bit, like I'm not a snake guy. Like if I found a python in my house, whatever. I'm not freaking out about it. I'd be concerned about my dog, whatever. That's not a big deal. Now we're talking poisonous snakes, not just no, but F no. You could quadruple, you could multiply it by whatever you want. I ain't dealing with that.
So we're gonna do like cobras or mambas.
Can't do it. Can't do it in any shape or form. It's honestly
really? The whole city.
No, I want nothing to do with it.
Chances of you running into them.
I don't care. If you tell me I have to move to a city and it's infested, like it is a problem. Like the New York City rat, right? I'm taking this. When you've been to New York, I love New Orleans. When you go to New Orleans, you see rats all over the place. You see them in nice kitchens, you see them in hotels. They're everywhere. If you told me that it was like that, but snakes and poisonous snakes, not just no, but hell no. I don't care. I'm out. I got no time for that. It's honestly why I can't really, I've always wanted to go cruise around like New Zealand or Australia and do like a nature tour or whatever, but I can't do it because everything there is poisonous. In Australia, it's not the python you worry about. It's that you've got like the 3rd world's most poisonous snake and it's living in your toilet. I was in Indonesia once and we were going out. My buddy had rented a scooter and we were going out to get on his scooter together because that's what we do. And some dude just walks up and is like, I wouldn't do that. And we're like, what? And he takes a stick and he starts banging on the scooter. And this freaking snake, because the engine was warm, they crawl up in your engine.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know exactly what that was, but Indonesia has a lot of poisonous snakes, and it made me rethink my entire trip there. And when you live over there, it is a thing that you think about. You have to be aware. If you're golfing in Indonesia and you hit one into the tall grass, guess what? That's a lost ball, my friend. No. Poisonous snake right out. Constrictor snake, again, they don't want to mess with you. You're fine.
What if the city only had 5 wild black mambas, but you didn't know where they were?
I think I could do that.
You're okay with
in
that?
A big city, yes.
Your odds?
My odds.
What if it's Salina? 50,000
Or what
people.
if it's 50?
50 snakes? One snake for every...
Where's the cutoff?
There is a line of demarcation there. There is. Again, I know it's nothing's going to happen. I just don't like having that. I don't like having that thought I have to deal with in the back of my mind. Poisonous snakes. When I lived in Florida, we got the water moccasins, and it was a little... They handled it.
They're not...
But it was...
They're not to be messed with.
No.
We had those in Kansas.
Yeah, there was always a bit uneasy.
What if there was they were everywhere and they were poisonous, but there was an app where you could see...
That's even better. Yeah,
you're okay with that. You just avoid it.
Yeah, it's like Waze, but instead of crashes, it's like, no.
Yeah, but think about your
just
life.
Have snake radar.
Yeah, it's like snake radar, but think about your life. You're like, oh God, I can't go there. I was going to go golfing. No, they're all on the golf.
Got a
I'm
little
not
heat
going
map.
there.
They're slithering around on there.
I got to go to Safeway. Oh, well, there's one there. I'm not going there. It would be annoying.
Yeah. Well,
but you'd do it.
There was when St. Lucia, I guess, has a really bad. There's a lot of snakes, and there aren't the locals don't do a lot of hikes and stuff. There's a couple really beautiful mountains and stuff there that people are always like, oh, we should go hike that. And the locals are like, yeah, no.
No, you shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't. I guess they've got some serious poisonous snakes, but they all live up in the mountains. They all live up where you have to kind of hike up to places. And like we were talking to one of the local guys, and he just was laughing about that. He goes, yeah, we do offer those hikes, but he's like, there's like 3 guys on the island that will take you up there. And he goes, you kind of have to be a dumbass to want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, go hike Mount Jimmy sometime. It's like this big, beautiful peak that looks stellar until you find out that, you're like 5 hours from civilization and there's 3 different snakes that'll kill you within like 45 minutes that are all littered up in those.
You're not carrying the antidote with you?
Don't know how all that works, but either way. Well, and there is no such thing as an antidote. It's antivenom, and sometimes it takes like 15 to 20 vials of that stuff. I'm not certain that the average person's affording how much that costs to just go hiking up Mount Jimmy.
I didn't know if guides could like carry that sort of thing, but
just gonna say no to that.
All right, shocking new study coming up next. But first, Buck with SportsCenter.
This is a U.S. Open Week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update.
nothing we can do.
Well, yeah, no, that like think about okay, what if you were in there and you were like, look, put me out of my misery.
I don't know if they could.
They couldn't. There's no way to do that.
Can they slip me like a cyanide pill or something?
Throw an anaconda at your feet.
Lethal injection to the foot.
Drop a cobra down in there, have it bite you a couple times. Oh my gosh.
Brutal.
But again, you're right in that it is. Some people won't have any sympathy for it because they'll do the what the hell were you doing in the first place? Like why exactly were you trying to crawl into a 18-inch crevasse there? I guess I don't know. People, everyone's got to have hobbies.
I know, but I just don't see the joy in. Like, what is the joy in that? Is it the
discovery?
fear?
I don't know. Maybe it's the fear thing. I don't know. You're talking to the wrong guy, man. A lot of stuff I'm willing to do. Luckily, again, the body. No one's ever looked at me and be like, "Hey, you want to go spelunking?" It's never been at the top of my body frame to-do list.
We do have one more. Which fate would you like to face scenario?
Okay.
That is shark or boat battery electrocution.
Oh no,
that's a real thing.
I know.
Yeah.
Do we have to play it now?
You can always save it.
I can't.
Let's play it.
It's so depressing to me.
Well, we'll hear it from your former fearless leader.
Possibly soon to be your next one.
Coming up next. That'll wrap up the show. 6:48 on the Fan.
It's back, and it's sure to sell out fast. The afternoon round of the 10th annual
and it must be because of MIT, my relationship to MIT. Very smart. He goes, I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight, and you're in the boat, and you have this tremendously powerful battery, and the battery's now underwater, and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's no problem with sharks. They just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now really got decimated, and other people too. A lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking? Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current coming through that water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Okay, so explain that.
So he's claiming that you can't have electric cars or boats because the batteries are too heavy, even though we have them. And that because the battery is so heavy, if it was in a boat, it would make it sink. And then he believes that if the battery got in water, you would get electrocuted unless you jumped off the boat. But you can't jump off the boat because apparently while the boat is sinking, there's a bunch of hungry sharks waiting to eat you.
Approximately 10 yards away. Approximately.
That's a real...
Yeah, that's real. And then today, or maybe it was yesterday, I saw a clip where he said, I don't care about you, I just want your vote. And now that's
honest.
On brand.
That is a bit.
I like it.
Well, that is honest.
At least I like the honesty.
But it's like, somebody said, hey, I dare you to say this and see if you still get elected. He's like, watch this.
Probably always making more campaign
It's like
money.
the Michael Jordan, Haynes, Hitler mustache bit.
Doing bits.
Like, watch this. You don't think I can wear a Hitler mustache and sell a bunch of Haynes t-shirts? Watch this. It's the damnedest thing out there right now, kids. Stay safe. Stay safe, okay?
Yeah.
We are back tomorrow, 3 to 7 on the Fan.
Ships of Spain, red ships of Spain.
Victoricos features fresh, authentic Mexican food made from scratch. Hey, it's Dusty, and that's just one reason why Victoricos is my family's go-to